Throwing middle, caught inside the 5. Jameer Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. 14 yards on the strike. Goff to Gibbs. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
Nice job.
Jared takes the snap, back looking, throwing middle. Got Amon-Ra inside the 2, to the 1, to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Amon-Ra.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
Check. All right, good morning. We should be back with some audio this morning. Hope you guys are all doing well. Happy Black Friday to everybody. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving, even though your Detroit Lions, bit of a downer yesterday. Very stressful game. Very stressful, especially if you're in the stands. Man, the back and forth, the refs, all of it. I'm going to put a little disclaimer out. Number one, I hate blaming refs. I really do. But sometimes there's some things that are just undeniable. Yesterday, there was a lot of ref involvement. Number two, Dan Campbell. The fourth down stuff, kick it, no kick it, take the points, don't take the points, even just going for it. Something has to change right there. I feel like he made some critical errors yesterday. Number three, you can't play well if the play calling is not called well. Not Jim Caldwell. That kind of sounded funny, didn't it? You can't play well if the play calling is terrible. At times yesterday it was good. At times it was bad. Number four, Jamison Williams. For as many yards as he had, what did he really do? Sometimes the stat line does not paint the right picture. You have to show up when the game is on the line. You're about to be a $27.5 million receiver, which is the number one paid receiver on most teams. You have to show up. Number five. We're on number 5 now, right? Aiden Hutchinson. You about to be $181 million richer. You have to show up. You're expected to be a game changer. You have to show up. What did he do yesterday? There's some stats people are going to point out. They don't mean shit. Yesterday, I saw on Twitter, someone said that Aiden Hutchinson was the highest rated PFF guy, their defender for the Lions yesterday during the game. Number one, you use PFF as your source. That's terrible. Doesn't get any worse than that. Number two, you use PFF. Number three, you use PFF. Number four, you use PFF. Try your eyeballs. Try watching the game, unbiased, and tell me what the hell he did yesterday. Number 6, I haven't listened to anybody, right? I barely listened to anything on the way home yesterday. I turned on Dan Campbell's postgame for about 3 minutes and shut it off. You know why? Because I got to spend time all day with my son yesterday and the night before, and I didn't want to ruin it. I didn't want to ruin it by watching the postgame and getting upset and making notes and talk. We talked about things, of course. We talked about the game. We talked about some other things, talked about life. But I felt in that moment it was more important for me to just be with my son. So I didn't listen to it. I didn't listen to it until after I dropped him off. Where are we at? Number 7? The season's not over. It's far from over. And I'm going to tell you why. Whether you believe it or not, whether you don't believe it. The Chiefs were 11-6 in 2023. They had a very rough patch. Kind of the 3/4 of the way through the season. Kind of where the Lions are, between a little halfway point and 3/4 till the end of the season. They were 11-6, went on to win the Super Bowl. They did not look like a Super Bowl team. At all. They did not look like a Super Bowl team. Got to look something up real quick. I forgot to look it up. So when you go back to 2023, you go back to, I mean, I've brought you guys through this before. About 25 years worth of Super Bowl winners. And where you get your offense and your defensive rankings. Now, this only goes back to 2022. So it's kind of hard to get the, well, I guess 2022, maybe it's technically the 23 season. The Chiefs had the number one offensive rank. They had a 16th rated defense in 22. The Rams were the 7th rated offense and the 15th ranked defense. Right now, the defense is ranked high, but they played like they were high. Number 8. The Legion of whom? Played better than the Legion of Doom. DJ Reed, Brian Branch, Amik Robertson, they all made plays at some point yesterday. But the Legion of whom, I believe, had played better in certain phases. Arthur Mollett, Rock Ya-Sin, coming up with big-time plays over the last couple of weeks. Whiteside, Hallett, names escaping me right now. Other guys making big-time plays. A mixture of those guys can make some big-time plays. Where I'm going with this is DJ Reed is going to take a couple of games to get flowing. Right? Terry and Arnold yesterday. I think he played fairly decent. I think he had some good hits in the run game, which is the poorest part of his game, is his run support. It's going to take him a few games to get rolling. Hopefully only 2. DJ Reed, you need to be rolling next week on Thursday. Kirby Joseph. We are missing Kirby Joseph right now, but I will tell you this. Don't think for a moment that the back end play by Harper has been any less than what Kirby Joseph has been doing. Kirby's a great player, but Kirby also gets lost in the sauce, put in a blender, making the wrong choice, left or right. Often, we get beat on deep stuff. Yesterday, and I think the game before, I believe the Lions have given up, 14 explosive plays over 20 yards? Can't happen. And you know what it is? It's we give up these big plays and make these stupid decisions when we're playing the wrong scheme. When we're trying to do things that maybe we shouldn't be doing. Guys are missing assignments. Why? They've been running this now for a while. I'll point back to a couple of guys that joined the roster recently. They're not up to snuff yet. And by snuff, I mean cohesion, really. The cohesion on this defense, it gets going after a few games. The guys are out because the cohesion starts to click. And then you mix it all up and you're throwing new guys back out there. Your starters, they don't have that cohesion. You miss several weeks, you don't have any cohesion with that defense now. To where you feel like you know what they're going to be doing. You know the guy across from you, you have a good idea what he's going to be doing. Yesterday, it looked like they were all flying blind. So it's going to take a little bit of time. We don't have any more time. Time's up. This is the last loss the Lions can take. What number am I on? Number 9? I did the playoff predictor yesterday. I'll bring it in this morning. Lions are good. We can still end up with a 3 seed. Bears and the Packers could almost win. Almost win out. Because you've got the Packers and the Bears playing each other. Right? You've got the Vikings that are still taking on divisional opponents. God, can they get a win? Because right now we need the Vikings to help us. That's for the division. The overall record is the only thing that matters. After the overall record is when the tiebreakers, the head-to-head, and all that stuff, division, wins and losses, that's where it comes into play. The Lions having 3 division losses this year, never expected it. Not splitting with the Packers shouldn't have happened. Lastly, and I may have already mentioned the refs. Well, I know I did. But the refs absolutely screwed the Lions yesterday. Multiple occasions. I put out some tweets during the game. Put out a lot of tweets during the game, which that account is shadow banned. I hit 1 million plus views on a NFL rigged post back after the Week 6 Chiefs game. And since then, that account has been shadow banned. I ran it through this new system that tells you what your channel is. And it doesn't matter which channel. You could run any channel through it. If it's banned, if it's banned, if it's blocked, if it's shadow banned, if it's limited, and it came back shadow banned. And it's clear because when you see how many engagements I don't have, it's pretty clear. But this had to be around the first quarter, maybe. I said, NFL, at NFL, the refs in the Lions and Packers game, hashtag NFL rigged, we're sick of it. Benefiting the Packers, challenge flag, not accepted. Dan didn't get it out in time. But you know what? How many times have I told you guys, when a team is rushing to the line of scrimmage after a catch, what do you do? What do you do, Dan? I don't give a shit what they're waiting on up top, what they're trying to communicate to you. They're slow. All of them should be fired. They're slow. If they're rushing to the line of scrimmage, you throw the flag. Nobody cares if you burn a timeout. Nobody cares if you lose a challenge. You get another one in the second half anyway. And if you're going to the locker room with all of your timeouts, it's a moot point, isn't it? Throw the flag. Because if they're rushing to the line, there's a reason, and it's called that maybe that wasn't a catch. So don't wait for someone to tell you the inevitable. Throw the flag. Not to say that New York would have overturned it, because the way that game went yesterday, they effed us pretty bad without any lube. Ineligible downfield picked up. Well, one of the clearest penalties in this game against the Packers, outside of, I counted 5 false starts. 5. And this was just like the first half. On the Packers, not called. Oh, but then there's the one. Matt LaFleur supposedly called a timeout before the false start. Y'all have seen the video. False start happened, and then he did the timeout. He wasn't running down the sideline. He was walking down the sideline. Here's how you fix it, NFL. You put a buzzer on every coach. Whether it's on their headpiece, whether it's on their belt, you put a buzzer. Right? And that buzzer, you click it, and it's supposed to register at the time of the game. And then it's irrefutable. You have a digital transaction here that tells you when you hit that buzzer. And so after a play, you go and cry to the ref if they didn't catch it for some reason, if they didn't get notified for some reason, or even better yet, why don't we have another flag? Why don't you just use the challenge flag and you just throw it out there? Because you can't challenge anything during a play, but you throw the flag out there, and at least then they know, hey, they were trying to do a timeout before that play happened. Pretty simple stuff. But why don't they have it? Because of that right there. Yep. Matt LaFleur. Yeah, they got it right. Nah, they didn't. Oh, sure, I was calling a timeout. They got it right. I want to fight. I wanted to fight Matt LaFleur when I saw that last night. Straight up wanted to fight the dude. I was that pissed off and in my feelings. And I'm not a violent guy. Not at all. The fact that he did that was probably some of the lowest class stuff that I've ever seen. And you just said that the NFL cheated. I wonder who's calling him today. Wonder who called him after the game. 5 false starts not called. That was in the first half. 4 holds. 4 holds not called. And I got to be real with this one, okay? A lot of people continue to say, well, Aiden Hutchinson can't do his job. He can't win his one-on-ones because he's getting held on every play. If you go watch every game and you watch it with an open mind. Good morning, Christian. I just seen you jump in the chat. Good morning, buddy. Love you. If you view it with an open mind, you're going to see just about every defensive end is going to get held. A lot of defensive tackles are going to get held on many plays. Some of them appear to be holds and they're really not. If their arms, if their hands are in the middle of their chest, right? And you know the DT or the DE is trying to go around the edge and it looks like they're holding them. They kind of really not. It just depends on, are their hands open, grasping, or are they closed? Or are they open, pushing? What are they doing? You know, if it's an arm bar and you're choking somebody as they're trying to pass you, or literally Aiden was getting choked last week, it has to be called. A lot of plays yesterday, and I haven't even gone through the film yet, obviously, but a lot of plays that didn't get called. And I'm sure on both sides. Well, I wasn't going to do more than 10 things this morning, but if I could dive into what the Lions are doing wrong and what needs to be fixed, obviously the Lions need Frank Ragnow back 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I hope that he is in great shape, and I hope that he can come in and be his old self. I'm telling y'all, don't bank on it. Not yet. It's going to take him time, just like anybody else who hasn't played for 13, 14 weeks of a season, plus no training camp or gone through any of the scheme, really. It's going to take him a minute. Now, he can jump in and play center, and he knows what he's doing. He's not going to be rusty with making calls, doing this, protections, that. He won't be rusty with that, but it's the cohesion, right? It's learning the timing. Could take a couple of weeks. Will it be instantly better from a protection standpoint up the middle? Yes, it will be. It should be, assuming he's in the best shape of his life right now, which he really should be. He should have low inflammation. Hopefully he's back to a good playing weight. He should be stronger after losing a lot of fat. He said he lost like 40, 50 pounds or something like that in the offseason or during this entire time. Or at least that was reported. I should say he didn't say that. It was reported that he did. He can pack that on in a few weeks. It's unhealthy, but I'm sure he could pack it on. There's a lot to talk about with this team. There's a lot that happened yesterday, and I'm sure a lot of you were just as pissed off as I was. And more importantly, disappointed. Disappointed that you allowed the Packers to come into Ford Field and take advantage of you and you were as stubborn as all get out at times, and it didn't help. On the flip side, some good things. TK85, man, this dude, Route 85 is what I call him. Route 85, he needs to stay on this roster. He's going to stay on this roster while Amon-Ra St. Brown is out. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be out 1 to 3 weeks as reported and guesstimated. They'll find out more today. We'll find out more today. Do not expect him back this week. It's a blessing and a curse with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Here's why. J-Mo needs to step up. J-Mo needs to step up and prove that he is worth being paid what he's about to get paid. Anybody that's making that kind of money would be a number one on most teams. So he has to step up and prove it, that he can carry this team when Amon-Ra St. Brown is down. So it's a curse because we don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown. We don't have our safety valve in Sam Laporta. And now we have to totally rely on J-Mo, who has played like garbage most of the season. He's had a couple of good games. The stats yesterday, great. When did you show up? You didn't. You didn't show up on a 4th down when you dropped it. He admitted to dropping it. But now it's a blessing because why? This is going to give J-Mo the opportunity to rebuild his confidence. It's a curse because now every team knows that J-Mo's the guy and they're going to bracket him. And he was being taken away before. He's going to be taken away again. The Lions have to be able to scheme up around it. TK85 gets into this game, made plays. That is a guy that I would be paying $20 million to for the type of plays that he makes and when he makes them. Shows up big time all the time. Keep him on the roster. If Isaac Tisla can't go out there and, he had a nice touchdown yesterday. Great. He got open. But Isaac Tisla has not been able to get open and make the plays throughout this season, nor was he really expected to. He was, your 4th option, 5th option? Maybe 5th, 6th option, depending on who's in the game? Let's just run through it. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond. So he's at least number 6. You'd probably even put David Montgomery ahead of him. So now he's number 7. But TK85 goes in there yesterday and plays out of his damn mind. Yeah, he didn't rack up a ton, but those 36 yards and those 4 catches on 4 targets were chain mover type plays. If you were to get him more involved yesterday, this could have been a different game. He is going to take over for what Amon-Ra St. Brown is leaving behind. Jahmyr Gibbs has to get more opportunities on the outside. Or in the slot, I should say. J-Mo stepped up yesterday to a degree, but into some of your comments, like I'm always downing players. No, it's called being real, buddy. It's called being a realist. We're going to be accurate. We're going to give you the truth, the transparent, the honesty. And if you can't take it, get out. If you can't take the truth, get out. It's not for you. I live in the truth. I don't live behind a shield or a curtain of falsehoods. I'll never do that. I'll always give you the real, the raw, the authentic, and what's really happening in this game. J-Mo had a couple of big plays yesterday. Matter of fact, let's go to his plays. Let's go to his plays yesterday, play by play. We'll start off in the first quarter. We went 3 and out. Pass was incomplete to J-Mo Williams on that first route that he was targeted. What was J-Mo not doing? Go watch the playback. What was he not doing? He wasn't even looking for the ball. Goff throws it, Goes right past him. Wasn't even looking in the direction. So we go 3 and out. The second set of downs. J-Mo, again, incomplete, short right on 2nd and 15. So 2 targets, no catches, both incomplete. Third set of downs. I think this is where Amon-Ra St. Brown went out. Actually, I don't remember. I'll have to figure that one out. I haven't gone back to watch the tape. So this is where J-Mo finally caught a pass, short middle, broke it for a little bit, had 22 yards. That's expected. That's not J-Mo showing up. It's expected, right? Great play. Great play. And then we do an end around with J-Mo. Dumbest play call. I can't stand it. You have to push the ball down the field, Dan. You can't be doing this stuff behind the line of scrimmage when you don't have an offensive line that can already hold. You're already having trouble with them. They're getting blown up. And you're trying to do plays that take time to develop, number one. And then also on top of that, requires guys to get into the second level. They can barely handle the first level. The offensive line is terrible right now. Why would you call a play that takes that much time, energy, and commitment to the second level? I don't care how fast J-Mo is. Clearly, he's not fast enough to get around an end and not get blown up and make up for the offensive line. You can't ask J-Mo to do that. You can't. It's not J-Mo's fault. So no, I'm not always downing players. That's Dan's fault. It wasn't set up for success. Then you go to the Gibbs on the next 3 plays. You get an 18-yard run, a 1-yard run, -4, and then you hit Tom Kennedy for 23 yards. So right now, Tom Kennedy and J-Mo neck and neck with biggest passes of the day through 3 possessions. If I hear Dan Skipper eligible one more time, I think I'm going to lose it. And everybody in the stands is losing it. Yeah, you're getting a few cheers and rah-rahs and yippee-de-yays. People are sick of it. They're sick of it because you're not fooling anybody with Dan Skipper. You're not. And I understand the reason why you're making them eligible so you can do different things on the offensive line, and then you get a couple of illegal formations. I haven't gone through the play to see if it was actually an illegal formation. Couldn't really tell from the stands. But I'll put that video together later. Dan Skipper was hot. He was pissed. Said it didn't happen. We'll see what the tape says. So then you go to Montgomery a few times in a row, finally, right? 8-yard run, 3-yard run. Demo wasn't really getting moving a whole lot. And we get a 3-yard touchdown run by David Montgomery. Let's get into the 4th one. Still no more J-Mo. They score a touchdown. Then we go to Jahmyr Gibbs, 0 yards. We go to Tom Kennedy again for a 4-yard pass. Montgomery up the middle for 2. And then we finally hit J-Mo again for 25 yards. I think this is the one that he might have bounced off McKinney. All right, I'm sorry, not McKinney. He might have bounced off, was it Nixon? But either way, that's 2 good pass plays. Again, that stuff's expected of J-Mo. That's what he's getting paid to do. Did he show up on 4th down? No, he didn't. Hit J-Mo again for that 22-yard touchdown. Amazing play by J-Mo. That was an amazing play. His contact balance was incredible on that play. Let's get into the 5th one. 17-14 Detroit, or 17-14 Green Bay. You go to Gibbs. Short pass to Kennedy again. 2 completions in a row. You go to Gibbs. You go to Gibbs. The entire possession. Gibbs. Kennedy. Gibbs. 4th and 3 at the 47. and you go down on downs. Right there, Dan Campbell has to punt that ball. It's 17-14. What are you trying to do? And if you're going to go for it, you just had a 4-yard run, a minus 1 yard run, and you think that you're somehow magically going to run the ball again and get a first down where it's requiring more than 3 yards? Yeah, the old offensive line, no problem. This offensive line, problem. Big problem. And it wasn't set up in a way where you were tricking anybody as to what you were about to do. But had you dropped back and hit a little short pass to Gibbs out of the flat, you know they're coming. So use that aggression and get up over top of them. Float it. Little screen pass. That's usually good for 3 yards right there. Easily. Float it to J-Mo in a screen pass. You don't run it right there. You don't. You just don't. And you know what? At that point, you might as well just throw it to the end zone. If you don't care about being stalled out at the 47, and then you give them a 2-play 51-yard touchdown on the back of that. Huge collapse by Dan Campbell with that 4th down call. Definitely not running the ball on 4th down. Not there. Inside the 20, inside the 30, sure. You know why? Because if you kick it, they're going to get the ball back right around there anyway. If you punt it, how about this? We have a guy called Jack Fox. Do you remember how many punts he had last week? He earned a game ball because of his punts. Do you remember why? How many times did we bury that team, under the 10, inside the 5? And what did our defense do? Then our defense goes down and they keep them down. Why didn't you use your weapon in Jack Fox? Flipping the field and putting the other team deep in their own territory is as much of a good play or better play. Well, I mean, it's always going to be a better play than losing on 4th down. But if you're not going to get points, if you're not going to get a field goal, if you're too far to get a field goal, bury them. Go tell your defense to go win. Instead, you give them a free 7. At minimum, you're giving them 3. All they have to do is get one or two passes, and they're good. We get the ball back, and we get a touchdown. So had we punted the ball there, and we bury them deep, and they have to punt the ball in return, we get a touchdown. This is a different ball game. This is now a 21-17 ball game. Detroit going into the half. I'm sorry, not the half. Where we are in the we're in the third quarter. Would have been 21-14 coming out of the half. They don't get a touchdown. It's still 21-14. Then we get another touchdown. The Lions had opportunities to win this game. It's critical play calling during the criticals that killed us. On the next touchdown that we get to bring it to 24-21, Tom Kennedy catches his 3rd ball, right? Somewhere in here. Anyway, we go to Goff, who scrambled for a 24-yard run. Dude has some wheels, doesn't he? The baby broken giraffe, man. He's got some wheels. Short pass to David Montgomery. David Montgomery wasn't used enough yesterday. I know he was struggling at times, but he wasn't used enough. 13-yard pass, 3-yard pass, back-to-back to David Montgomery. 14-yard run to David Montgomery. And then a 17-yard touchdown pass to Isaac Tesla. I'm sitting in the seats. I see as Isaac Tesla rolling over to the left, and I just stood up, and I said, there it is right there, touchdown. And then Jared Goff throws the football to Isaac Tesla, touchdown. You could see it happening. You could see it develop. It was a great route. There's another route that we'll talk about where someone had said that J-Mo was wide open near the goal line, and Jared Goff didn't throw him the football. But what you're failing to see on that play is the same thing that was said the other week about Brock Wright being open. What you're failing to see is that play was to Isaac Tisla too. He was coming out of the slot, wiggling his way across the field underneath the linebackers, going to go to the front corner of the end zone. That's where Jared Goff was going, and that was 1, 2, 3 on progressions. J-Mo would have been 4, looking all the way back to the right as J-Mo was going cross the other way. J-Mo's goal was to lead everybody to the right, because at this point in the game, you're expecting it to go to J-Mo. So he was decoy. It was never going to J-Mo. Now, if Goff would have just said, screw it, I'm just going to go to J-Mo instead, he would have got blown up. He had a DB right behind his back. And I can't tell you, time, distance, and all that right now because I haven't gone through the tape. I just know the play. Get into the fourth quarter, we go down on downs, 11 plays, 53 yards. To end this, Jamison Williams drops a fourth down catch on 4th and 3. What's amazing here is that same fourth down call that we made here should have been the same fourth down call that we made earlier when we gave him the ball back on the 47-yard line. That short little 3-yard pass was a perfect play. How J-Mo drops it, I don't know. I really don't. It's like he didn't want the ball. Everyone can make mistakes, right? I get it. But J-Mo has made countless drops, countless mistakes this season. St. Brown, same way. He's made quite a few too. But St. Brown, over and above, does more. Consistently puts his team on his back. This is where I'm saying J-Mo has to step up. The rest of the game, did J-Mo step up? Yes. He did. But a few big passes doesn't outweigh the little stuff. It's the little stuff that ends up mattering more. This is not little. It's a short pass. It's a first down. This puts us into contention to have another touchdown. Minimum a field goal. But you know what? If Dan Campbell takes the field goal here, it's 31-24. And then that next drive that we go 13 plays, 67 yards after a Green Bay punt, that would have had to have been our touchdown. Play calling may have been different, but you had an incomplete pass to David Montgomery, and then another incomplete pass to Ross Dwelly. No idea why we went to him. And then Jared Goff gets sacked in less than 2.5 seconds on the fourth down. Then we get there on the third down, and then we get the field goal. So you flip those plays. Maybe J-Mo catches that football and you either get a field goal or you're able to punch it in. You punch it in, and this game is tied at the end of the game off that field goal. It's a tie ball game. Or we're winning by 3. Here, what would it have been? We would have been... It was 31-21. Touchdown 31-28. Yeah, it would have been tied. Now we're going into overtime 2 weeks in a row, probably. Maybe not. They still had 2 minutes, 59 seconds, and they were driving the football. They probably would have got a field goal and won the game. Okay, so that's a little bit of a rundown and play-by-play. Obviously, I haven't watched the film, so I can't break it all down in depth. Just disappointing. It's just disappointing when you leave a couple of calls out on the field, and then the play calling was just atrocious. Let me get into some of my notes. Yeah, that's a great statement in there. Norma Hodge, when they knew that Ragnow's toe injury was not repairable and it was affecting his performance, they should have drafted his replacement then. It's funny you say that, because 2 years ago when I first started doing this, I said it then. I said right after Ragnow gave his statement after the game, after the NFC Championship game, and he didn't know, like he didn't know what he was going to do, and then everyone thought he was going to retire at that point. And then a couple weeks later, he said, "Oh no, I'm good. I just, I was upset, needed to, chill out for a little bit." It shouldn't have changed the way that the organization thought about the position. I said back then they needed to go out and get a new guard that can play center, or a center actually that can play guard. The same kind of pathway that Frank Ragnow did or took, because you have a center in Frank that you're going to bring back anyway. But by bringing in a center now, they can learn from Frank, learn from one of the best in the game, not push one of the best in the game, but learn and play guard. You're set up. Yeah, you're going to have to give the dude a contract at some point before Frank Ragnow retires or shortly after he retired. He's, still would have had probably two years left on his rookie deal. But then you have 2 years on a rookie deal to see what this guy can do at center. And you would have had your guard that's now fully developed. Look at where that offensive line would be today had we had a guard and picked up Ratledge or, maybe another left tackle or something, because now we have to get a left tackle next year for Taylor Decker. He's done. He's cooked. He's done. Tate Ratledge is not playing well right now. So, absolutely would have. Yeah, I'll get lines open a little bit, Raw. I just got to get this crap off my head. Absolutely would have been a great call. And it was funny because Brad Holmes went to the mic, I think it was the next season, and said, yeah, I know some of you are calling for me to get a replacement, center guard, but I just don't see it that way. And then Frank retires. Well, you know what? Just like a lot of you pound your chest for edge, I don't pound my chest for stuff like that. I look at roster roulette and I look at ways to be able to rebuild this team and keep it consistent by keeping the funnel full. Yeah, we got a lot of great depth. We have some really good starters in areas. I think we way overpaid for some players. And there's some decisions that I would have made that y'all wouldn't have liked. It is what it is. I think differently than you. I see the game differently than you. It's okay to be different. But there's some things strategically that I would have done way different. And that is one of them. That is absolutely one of them. Let me get into my notes now real quick. So during the game, I kind of stopped making notes at points because I was just so pissed. But we were mixing up a little bit of zone and a little bit of single man. The single man is what gets us in trouble. Sarah, single high. That's what gets us in trouble. And like I said earlier, even with Kirby back there, we still seem to get into trouble at times. But there was a false start on that second down. I think this was the first offense. Might have been the second set of downs. And I had false start not called. Big run for 5 by Green Bay. Third down. We were on single high. They did a big blast up. Big blast play. They hit the hole pretty hard for a first down. I missed a set of downs, and I went into, I think it was the fourth set of downs on their first offensive drive. Single high, another false start not called. Almost got to Love on that play. Second down, incomplete in the zone. Third down, I missed. And then the Lions get the ball. So I didn't do great notes here. Had a lot going on. Lions first offense. Goff got stepped on to start the game. That was great. We've seen that play before. Almost mirror image. J-Mo not looking, and then the line breaks down. We go 3 and out. Those are my notes on the first 3 and out. Goff gets stepped on. J-Mo not looking on second down. Line breaks down. 3 and out. Great way to start the game. My buddy Jim, sitting in front of me, turns around and says, we ain't winning this game. I'm telling you right now. We're not winning this game. And I said, chill. Chill, Jim. We're all right. It's early. When the refs got involved, I looked at Jim and I said, we're not winning this game. Packers get the ball back. They get a run for nothing. A nice pass breakup by Meek. TA with a huge hit on third down. They go 3 and out. Great defensive stand. Players making plays. Lions get the next ball, next possession. TK85, nice return. TK85 yesterday, man, if anybody deserved a game ball for what he contributed to that game, it would have been him. Not a ton of stats, but the plays that he made were big. Keep him on the roster. You have to. Anyway, but do it for the rest of the year. Nice hard run by Gibbs for 7. But anytime I said after this, when the Packers got the ball back, and I said, anytime a team hurries up, you need to throw the flag and challenge. Anytime. You win some, you lose some. But that has to be in Dan's mind. I'm going to have to do a video about it and hope that, I don't know, people hear it, see it. They won't. But of course, there's no flag, right, for ineligible. The Lions stop them. They get ineligible downfield. They jump offside. They say a timeout was called. I mean, come on. How much shit could happen yesterday in this game is just mind-boggling. That they think we're stupid. The NFL is sitting back there with just piles of billions of dollars. Right? They probably have swimming pools in their spare bedroom with just stacks of bricks of gold bars and $100 bills and Bitcoins, you know what I'm saying? And they're just swimming in it, laughing at all of us NFL fans, all of us Lions fans, like, look at these fools. They're still showing up. They're still paying. And we just hiked up their prices by double for playoff tickets. And they're all going to be sold out on day one. But we're going to treat them like this. It's hilarious to me. Here's a stat. Here's a stat that should blow your mind. Let me make sure that I have it still written down. Oh, it's in my other account. So I'm going to guess. The last time the Lions offense had a pass interference call called for them, none this year, by the way, 0, was week 15 last season. And prior to that, I think was week 1 versus the Chiefs. In 3 seasons, the Lions have had 2 pass interference calls for them on offense. 2. The league average is 6 per year, per team. 2. Are you telling me that the other team's DBs don't do anything to interfere? How many of you saw that catch last night in the Cowboys game? CeeDee Lamb battling with somebody. What about that play? Because the week before that, Rock Ya-Sin apparently mugged the shit out of somebody and gets a pass interference call that helped the team get back into it. Actually, that's kind of been like every week. For some reason, we get all the calls against us. But the other teams can do way worse, and they get nothing. We must be the stupidest fans in the world. Someone put this out the other day. They said, you know what? We stop showing up. We stop paying. We start picketing. Stop showing up. Stop paying. Start picketing. I don't know. Do you hold a demonstration in front of Ford Field? Do we hold a demonstration in front of the NFL offices? Is it going to go that far? I think that's what these people were trying to say. The other play that I had a problem with, one of, and I'm sure I'll have more after I watch the film, was we needed a first down, and I think this was another third down call that we pitched it to Gibbs to the right. Again, a slow developing play. Gibbs on the outside, yeah, we love it. We love Gibbs on the outside. But they were loading the box. We were down. They were loading the box, and you ran the ball. This wasn't the pitch. It was a different play. I'm screaming in the stands like, you better pass it. You better drop back and pass it. They're loading the box. They're all coming. You have to see that. They're all coming. Why would you run the ball? You don't have an offensive line that typically can take a blitz and peel it apart and create a hole. We don't have that right now. Why would you take a loaded box and run the ball right at them? That's where you pull the ball back and you throw it to the outside. That's where that little hitch play, that might work in that case. The swing pass could work in that place. It's just boneheaded stuff to me that we do that kept us out of this game. But I'm gonna end my little diatribe with this. Look, the Lions are still in it. The Chiefs were 11-6 in 2023, or the 2023 Super Bowl. I think it was the 2022 season. The Lions they're in a hole, like Dan Campbell said. It's a hole that they're going to have to dig out of. And we will. We have to. We have to get into the playoffs one way or the other. All it takes is for the Lions to catch a little bit of lightning in the bottle. But right now, that's going to require St. Brown to be healthy. If he's not healthy, we're in trouble. Then it's the curtains, might as well pull it over. It's done. Without an offensive line and without St. Brown, it becomes increasingly more difficult because they're going to bracket J-Mo. Already they have been. They've been doubling up, shading them, doing a good job at trying to, play keep away. It'll get even worse now. So we have to find ways to win. One of my bigger gripes about the Lions offense is why we're not painting the end zone. We try to win with yak. We try to throw it short of the sticks and win with yak. That's got to stop. We have to get to the sticks or beyond the sticks. We need to run comeback routes. Come back. You need 6, go 8, turn and come back. That used to be one of the staples in this league. You plant and you drive. That DB, if they're playing off coverage, then you need to use it against them. If they're playing off, you just hot route J-Mo. If they're giving him 5-7 yards, you hot route him and you say, I need an 8, come. And you hit him. It's 2 steps, bang, and you're throwing that ball. Tom Brady executed that so well. It didn't matter how good or bad his offensive line was. It didn't matter how good or bad that defense was. You have to see it. You have to get into it. Jared Goff needs to have the ability to call those plays. Because whatever's getting called right now, they're not giving us enough options. This offense is becoming way too vanilla. Everyone can read it. Something needs to change. Maybe we need Brian Kelly or Chip Kelly. We need someone that has some offensive influence. All right. I told y'all yesterday. Well, maybe that was in the Blue Zone chat. Yeah, I got a lot of negative things to say today you're not going to like. But it's the truth. Unfortunately, the truth hurts. There's a lot of good things we're doing too. But the bad right now is overweighing the good. Aiden has to figure out a way to win. He has to figure out a way to win these one-on-ones. He has to. I got into a Twitter spat with somebody, and they said that Aiden gets doubled more than anybody. Aiden gets doubled more than Muhammad. And I said, you're wrong. We have stats for these kinds of things. And nope, I'm not wrong. Aiden gets doubled more than anybody. That's why he's not getting all these sacks and stats and everything else. Aiden is doubled less than 43% of the time. El-Qadim Muhammad is doubled more than 46% of the time. Ali McNeil, who's been back, has been doubled more than 50% of the time. DJ Reader is doubled like more than 60% of the time. If you're doubled 43% of the time, that means that there's 57% of the snaps that you're not. Do something with it. Please. It's not the other side of Aiden. That's the problem. The reason why people keep saying that is because they can't admit that Aiden is not able to win his one-on-ones. And I hate talking about it every week, but for some reason, people just continue to think that Aiden can't do any wrong. I don't care what the player's name is. Don't put a name to the player, and I'm going to tell you how that player did in that game. I didn't see Aiden anywhere on the field yesterday. I didn't see him make a play ever. Jordan Love had a career game. What did he throw? 4 TDs? 4 TDs. Time to throw yesterday. .09 seconds, 14 quarterback pressures. He was pressured 43.8% of the time. He had a plus 15.1 EPA yesterday. Insane. Only 60% completion rate. So it's not like he completed a ton. Yeah, our DBs made some plays. But he completed the passes that needed to be completed. They found a way to get open. Yeah, you only threw for 234 yards. But he had a career day. Best game he's had, I think, all season. 4 TDs, no interceptions. 124.2 rating. Jared Goff, I didn't expect him to throw for more than what was it? Here, I'll just pull it up. Pretty sure I saved it all. I'll open up phone lines in 5 minutes. I said that my bold takes for this week would be this. I said Jared Goff would be 21 of 29, 300 yards, 3 TDs, 72.4 completion. Let's see how close we got. He was 20 of 26. He had 256, 2 TDs, no interceptions, 76.9% completion percentage. So he did better than I expected him to do completion percentage-wise. He was 1 TD short, and he was 3 passes short. Pretty spot on prediction for how I expected Jared Goff to perform. Gibbs, I thought he was going to have 125 plus combined. I thought he would have a 45-yard TD run. I'm not sure why we stopped feeding Gibbs. I'm really not. And I'm really baffled at why we kept slamming him through the center, between the tackles. It's just not. You know what I saw, though, yesterday out of Gibbs? Oh, my God. Everybody in the stands. They turn. I got good conversations with people like throughout the game. And they're like, that's Barry. Like, this is Barry time now. We have no offensive line. This is what Barry had to deal with. No offensive line, no weapons out wide. It's time for Barry to turn up. And then you watch Jahmyr Gibbs start running to one side. There's nothing. Starts going to the other. Plants, digs, spins. Going to go to the other side. And he was this close to breaking that all the way. Yeah, it got shut down. I think we lost a yard or two. But if you go back and watch that play, which I'll watch it, I'll highlight it this week. That is what we expect out of a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. Creating plays, trying to make something out of nothing. And yesterday, if he had a little bit more time, if we had maybe one more offensive, lineman that could have freed him up, he would have. He would have made the plays. But the play calling is what restricted him. We weren't mixing up. I saw play pass yesterday 4 times, 5 times. And again, I have to watch the film, but I didn't see a whole lot of play action. Yeah, the run game wasn't cooking, but the minute we did play action, it worked. I think that was one of J-Mo's biggest catches of the day. Might have been his touchdown. We get into a little bit of play pass. Why are we not calling it more? That used to be our bread and butter. That's what we thrive on. And I get it. You need a little bit of time. Kinda. I don't think it's really that much more time than a straight drop back. Maybe a quarter of a second at most. But that's what you bring in David Montgomery for. That's what you bring in, the tight end for, to come in and slam behind the line of scrimmage. Play pass was non-existent, it seemed like, yesterday. Good overall day by JMO. Just wasn't enough. Monty, I thought that he was going to have 60 plus, 1 TD, and I said it was going to be a 2-yard punch. Well, how close did I get on that one? Where was Monty's touchdown? Monty had a 3-yard punch. Almost a damn spot-on call. 60 yards on the day. What did he have? 32. And only 16, and so he had 48. 48 yards on the day. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 receptions, 125. Well, he didn't play. He had 0 catches. I think 1 target, 2 targets, whatever it was. The Lions defense, I said that they would hold the Packers to 80 or less on rushing all day, all in. And that Jordan Love would throw 2 interceptions. Well, Jordan Love didn't throw an interception. And they had 125 yards on the ground. But Josh Jacobs only had 83. Emmanuel Wilson only had 14. I know that the question was asked of me this week, was Emmanuel Wilson going to dice up the Lions? And I said, hell no. Wasn't going to happen. But Josh Jacobs comes back. That's a pretty good game. 4.9 yards per touch. That's a really good game. Really good game. We work on trying to get these phone lines open. I had that issue this morning that OBS is reset again. It must have reset while I was gone. I turned everything off, hoping that it wouldn't. I just got to make sure that the volume's actually going to work. I should be able to hear it, no problem, but I want to make sure that you can. Oh, yeah, it's all changed. All right, let's get into some of the chat real quick. Let's see here. Lone Wolf says, Hutchinson can't win a one-on-one, but he does help. Look, I get it. I mean, this stuff like Hutch is overrated. That stuff's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what else Agnes said, but stuff like that we got to let slide. I mean, that's their opinion. It's okay. Hutch is a no-show. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm good with that. I mean, I say the same thing. Hutch is overrated. He is. And matter of fact, 10 people in my circle, a lot of them Michigan fans, tell you the same thing. In my circle, where we sit, actually, on both areas, they all say the same thing. What's up, Steve? How you doing, man? Steve, good win. Good win to the Packers, man. You guys outplayed us. We were outcoached, but I will say there's some shit in this game that doesn't sit well, and it shouldn't sit well. Even as a Packer fan, it shouldn't sit well. It really shouldn't. Winning off of the refs making bad calls, no calls, missed calls, phantom calls. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem. And it's all over the internet. Everyone's saying it. The touchdown. How about the touchdown by the Packers? Who got that touchdown? Who got that touchdown yesterday that shouldn't have counted? That ball moved, which means he didn't have full possession. You have to complete the process. So you catch the ball, you have 1 foot in, ball moves. Now it resets. And when that ball moves and you go out of bounds, it's out of bounds. If that were the Lions, it would have been out of bounds. But no, it was the Packers. And for some reason, it counts. That was not a TD. Cheated again. Everyone is saying, except the Packers fan, is saying that TD doesn't count. We can't challenge a touchdown, buddy. Mr. Mathix. We can't challenge a touchdown. And the reason why is because it's automatically reviewed. It's automatically reviewed after the play, and then if they have to go deeper, it's automatically reviewed. So you can't challenge a touchdown. You're just expecting them to get it right, and they didn't. They didn't. Brian Branch. Brian Branch yesterday, I mean, huge mistake. Huge mistake. All right, phone lines are open. If you'd like to call in and weigh in on what you feel about the game. Remember, we'll take one at a time when someone's on the line. When someone's on the line to wait till they're done, and then we'll take the next call. Make sure my phone's on. There we go. Good morning, Robbie, man. What's happening?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing. It's it's just another frustrating day of having to deal with the Lions losing.
No, absolutely. Oh man, where to start? You covered so many areas that I want to comment on.
I'll just do whatever comes natural to you, man. Whatever you feel is the biggest letdown of the day, or biggest highlight of the day for you, whatever it is.
Well, whatever comes natural. Well, let's deal with the officiating. I guess that's what comes natural for us Lions fans. I really wish they would remove whatever influence they seem to hold over Detroit. You're not wrong. The PIs against our receivers are non-existent. I think you're being a little easy on them regarding the holds. I've seen quite a few holds on our interior D-line, with McNeil particularly. When they left him one-on-one, he was destroying that man, and when they double-teamed him, they were still having struggling, so they were holding him a lot inside. Hutch was held a couple times. However, like I mentioned earlier, whether it was on your show or another, as soon as he enters that 2-foot circumference in between him and whoever's blocking him, he seems to get eaten up. He can't get no push off. He can't get no release. It's just he's just walking into their comfort zone. So he needs to find a way to shift their balance to where it benefits his speed and athleticism. But until he figures that out, I think we're going to see a lot of what we did see. I see a lot of people mentioning about Davenport and how he was non-existent. Davenport was on a snap count. That's why we ran a lot of defensive fronts that we did run in that game. They're trying to ease him into it. Obviously, he does have a history of injuries, so they're trying to keep him as healthy as possible so that he doesn't go down. And if they have to limit the snap count, if the shoulder can't take as much strain as playing a full game, then I'm all for it. Because having him on the field, whether him not being available to play at all, is definitely much more of a beneficial for our defense.
Yeah, let me pause you there real quick, Raw. So Davenport, it was almost immediately clear first or second possession for the Packers, he had a crazy good bull rush, allowed the Lions to collapse that pocket, almost got to Jordan Love, but it caused an incomplete pass.
Yep.
And him being on a pitch count, I think, is expected. We did the same thing with Lee McNeil. I think we kind of do the same thing with everybody coming back from an injury like this. It's a little bit different with your DBs. I think they kind of get thrown in there no matter what. And they played. It's also depending on the injury too. But I haven't looked at anybody else. I don't watch anybody else, so I don't know what. I'm sure people are trashing Davenport like they always do. The thing that
there's quite a few comments on his productivity. Davenport's productivity is focused primarily on the left tackle. He's going to remove him from the play, whether it's a run blocking play that he's assigned or a pass rush. He's going to eliminate one person because he's going to hit him in the chest and he's going to back him up. That's what Davenport does. That's what we brought him here to do, and that's what he does quite well. So he's got no sacks, but the guy beside him's got 3 or 4 pressures. Those pressures are not just an amount to the guy who got them, but they're also a credit to Davenport.
And that's what people forget.
Eliminating the help.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. He's taking away one offensive lineman right off the top.
Yeah, that's what people forget, Raw, is that this is a team game, and across the defensive line, oftentimes whoever's winning in the stat game, they're winning in the stat game because the guy immediately to their left or their right is helping them. And then on the other side of the line, they are also helping the situation. But we can't forget about the linebackers behind them that are dropping into the run fits or dropping back into coverage. We can't forget about the secondary who's also doing the same thing, making sure that quarterback has to hold the ball or pat the ball even just a half a second more. What I'm disappointed in the most is not with Davenport. It's that when we do have all of these fixtures along this defensive line that are doing their job, and they are creating havoc for the offensive line and the quarterback, that the other guy that they always seem to point to, we need the other guy opposite of Aiden. No, it's the other way. He has the ability to go win a one-on-one, and it's not happening. But they seem to blame Davenport for that, or they blame El-Qadim Muhammad for that, or anybody else over there for that. The reality is, to your point, Davenport is called the can crusher. He's the big defensive end. He is meant to crash the line, to hold an edge, to keep the run game in contained, to keep the quarterback in contained, or crash it, right, to push it the other way and shut the run behind the line of scrimmage. And he's always done a great job at that when he's in the game. He's going to be on a pitch count the first game. Maybe the second game they'll let him, go 50, 60% of the snaps. And probably by the third game, that'll be about the most of the snaps he's going to get in a game. I don't expect him to ever play 90, 95%. I expect them to have him on a good rotation so we can keep guys fresh. But what's your next point or next big comment there for us on the defensive line or wherever else you want to go?
For as well as Brian Branch played for us, I feel like 2 of those big plays were on him. One stopped running on the TD on the sideline that should have been overturned. Completely just stopped moving. I don't know if he thought the ball was not catchable or what.
I don't think he saw it.
He was right underneath that pass, and if he stayed with Devontae Wicks, there's no way that man catches that ball with absorbing contact from Harper on the other side.
I don't think he saw it, Raw. I don't think he saw the ball.
There was another play that it was a pass over the middle. It was a seam route to the wide receiver, and we were playing 2 high safeties, but Brian Branch came down and just kind of sat in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. If he's drifting back a little, that pass is not there. That seam route's not there. I believe it was a big third down conversion, too. That really kind of stuck out to me. But for the most part, he does what he does, and he does it well. I just felt like there were 2 lapses there where he just not moving his feet really, really kind of cost us in that situation.
Yeah, there was another play yesterday. I kind of moving away from Brian for just a second. I think it was Alex Anzalone. Wasn't there a touchdown by? Maybe it was a first down. But Alex was supposed to fit behind Davenport, and I'm pretty sure it was a touchdown. Davenport, I think, was on the right side. Anzo was on the right side. Davenport crashes in, and Alex Anzalone doesn't fill. He crashed in too. He was supposed to go, from what I understand of the scheme, without knowing his exact assignment, he should have kind of twisted or at least swapped sides with Davenport and filled that backside to the boundary, and he didn't. He crashed in, he got sucked in, and they went right around both of them. You remember that play?
Well, Anzalone is always supposed to be that sideline boundary kind of guy. That's his comfort zone. That's where he plays. I don't know if it was just a wrong defensive call or not, or if it was just an option situation for him. If he saw something, he was given the green light to go on it. But I come to notice more and more frequently that Anzalone seems to be at a position on a number of key possessions or plays that just don't work into our benefit. I don't know if he's giving green lights to do his own thing or what, but he's not reading the offense right or not. But I've come to notice that he's, for as many plays as he makes, he is equally out of position for as many plays as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
So regarding our defensive front, I really, really like the idea that we kind of sent out 3 DTs and 2 edges on a lot of the snaps. I think there was around 35% of the snaps where we were doing that. I like the idea that we were bouncing 3 DTs and Aiden out there with 2 linebackers or 3 linebackers and Brian Branch in the box or not. The one thing I wanted to mention that the Packers defenses were doing is every time, and goes back to the Giants game, every time Gibbs was in the backfield, those safeties were creeping up into the box.
Yep.
They were getting ready to run downhill right off the snap, waiting for, as soon as they see a handoff, they're crashing inside to eliminate the holes and bounce outside ability that he has. They're creating more pursuit, more guys than we can block, and they're getting at us. At those points in times, and I mentioned it during the game, and you kind of clapped back at me where we got to throw short there, not deep. And at this point in time, it's like you got 6'4" Isaac Tesla on the outside with a little bit of speed.
Hold on, you said I clapped back at you. When did I clap back at you?
When I wrote in the Voxer chat.
Oh, I don't usually read the messages when I'm in the stands. I'm just throwing stuff in there.
No, I said we got to go deep to JMO 1-on-1 when those safeties creep up, and you're like, no, we got to go short to the outside. And I was like, I
mean, both
just a matter of
both calls can be right. It just depends on what you see. I just saw the right side of that short field looked like it was wide open for him.
When those safeties are creeping into the box, like you gotta take an extra step back, run your play action, take an extra step back for Jared Goff, and just let that ball fly. Throw as hard and as deep as you possibly can. Let Isaac Tesla or Jameson Williams run down the field, and if their DB can keep up with them, we'll see if they can make a play one-on-one.
Yeah.
If their DB can't keep up with them, or they can't get, if we outmuscle them and make a play, then those safeties are going to stop creeping in. But the lack of deep shots with this offense is very, very concerning because everybody's creeping those safeties into the box against us.
Yeah.
And they're very successful at doing it.
And so to your point then, yeah, I would say that you're right on that. If the safety's creeped up and you have an opportunity to get over top, that is where if they're creeping up, Jared's got to call the hot route right there. And he's got to say, look, everybody's going to do the same thing, but Tesla or JMO, one of you're going to do a deep in or something, and I'm launching this ball on the hash over top of that safety that is creeped up the most because they're not going to be able to catch up.
Not even close.
So,
especially with Tesla's 6'4" frame, 215 pounds.
Runs a sub 4.4
That's a
too.
big boy right there.
Yeah.
That's a big boy right there. Like, I don't think the Packers have anybody that size to cover him. I think Valentine is 6'2".
Yeah.
But it's a mismatch all day for our perimeter threats.
So
we're not utilizing them.
Yeah, I want to throw something at you on the defensive side of the ball. Something yesterday really sickened me, and we've seen this quite a few times with Aiden in the beginning of the year where players were diving at his legs, and it happened in the beginning, of the season with the Packers game. And it kind of happened a couple of games in a row where they're diving at his legs, checking his legs. Well, yesterday, Barnes was coming in. It was a run play to Gibbs going off the tackles and to the other side, to the short side of the field. So Barnes is coming in to fill, right? And the tight end that is back there in that I formation, he comes up and he launches right at Barnes' ankles. Barnes missed him. Like he had to swipe, his body to the left to be able to miss him. But this was, again, clear intent to throw a low block, an illegal block, because it wasn't outside the tackles. And it wasn't more than 2 yards or 1 yard, whatever it was beyond. And it's not called. Even the attempt should be called.
You've seen that a few times at Jack Campbell as well inside.
Yeah.
The guards are getting downfield. Instead of putting hands on Jack Campbell, they're just falling at his feet. And I get falling at his feet, but those are big men. Like, the guards are 6'4", 6'5". When they fall forward, they're not falling at your feet. They're falling at your knees. And I think it's an attempt to take two distinguished players out of the game so that they can have more success at running the ball. Barnes was all over the field yesterday. Branch was all over the field yesterday. Jack was all over the field yesterday. They're like Aleem McNeil was all over the field yesterday. And yeah, he's 330 pounds, and he doesn't run like these other guys do, but he's a big man. And when you got guys that, like, I'm at the belief that if you can't beat them, you got to join them. And if that's what they're doing to us, then maybe we need to send a message and maybe fall at the feet of Micah Parsons and be like, listen, buds, clean up your team's gameplay or we're coming at your knees.
Yeah.
Because it's not acceptable. We already playing the officials. Dan Campbell built this team on one saying. When you knock us down, we're going to get up. And when on the way up, we're going to take a chunk out of your knee. You knock us down again, we're going to get up and we're going to take a chunk out of your other knee. And sooner or later, no matter how many times you knock us down, we're going to be the last one standing. And I think Detroit has lost that grittiness. They've lost that edge. Teams are starting to get more physical than we are. They're adopting our mentality and applying it back at us, and we're not fighting back. And we need to fight back.
Yeah, yesterday was
out-muscled. We're getting out-muscled on defense. We're getting out-muscled on offense. Teams aren't blowing us out, but teams are doing just enough with the assistance of the officials to stay in the game and then win at the end.
Yeah. And I think that's
every single play that the Packers had once they got into the red zone, there was some sort of flag to extend their drive and allow them to go for a TD.
Yep.
Every single time they walked into the red zone, except for their first drive where we forced a 3-point field goal.
It doesn't get any more clear than that, does it? I think that it's intentional, and again, this is why I prefaced, this morning jumping in and saying, the thing that I don't love is I don't love to blame the refs, and I know you don't either. But there's sometimes that it's just so clear and evident of what is going on. They think we're stupid, and just like to your point, if their drives are extended by penalties, what does that tell you? Now, when I go back and watch the film and I look at every penalty, if the penalty is there, I'm going to tell you it's there. If it's not there, I'm going to tell you it's not there. If it's a penalty that was called that maybe in the rule book is a penalty, but you haven't called it the entire game for the other side, and they've been doing the same thing, or like Rock Ya-Sin, the week before, they're playing that way the entire game, and then into the fourth quarter, you're going to make that call. That doesn't make any sense to me. You got to either call the game one way and keep it that way, because that's what the players are now in tune with, and they're saying, okay, they're gonna let us hand fight, they're gonna let us body each other a little bit, about beyond 5 yards. I gotta lay off. Man, they called some shit yesterday that I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and the fans, we let the refs hear it. And I said this now probably 3 or 4 times this season. I'm telling you, this Detroit Lions fan base is like one game away from this stuff happening again, where they're coming on the field. We are that fed up, and I'm not saying I am. I'm not saying that I'm trying to incite anything. I don't want it to happen. But what I'm saying is it's getting that close because we are that fed up, and you can feel it. You can feel the tension and the energy in the in the audience or in the stadium with the fans. You can feel it. It's real. They're sick of it. And they just want to be treated. We just want to be treated fairly. And if you call the game fair, everyone's going to make mistakes, but 4, 5, 6 calls in a game is not mistakes anymore. It's intentional. So they've got it. And they're never going to clean it up.
Vegas won twice last night. Because
say that again. I'm sorry.
I believe
say that
Vegas
again.
won twice last night.
Oh yeah.
Because I believe the lion's share of the money was on Detroit to cover the spread, and I also believe the lion's share of money was on Detroit winning the division. That loss to Green Bay, Detroit's chances to win the division are like 9%, 8%.
Well, all we have to do is win. We just have to win one more game. That's it. We just have to win one more game than they have.
Very true. But Green Bay has to lose 3 games now between here and the end of the season. Whether they do or don't, I don't know. But that's for Detroit to get ahead of Green Bay. We are 3 games behind them.
What do you mean? What do you mean we're 3 games behind? How are we 3 games behind?
Well, they have a tie, and they have at least 2 more wins than us.
So they're 8-3-1. So they have 1 win and a half a win more than us. They're 1.5 games ahead. Right?
And they have 2 games on us.
Yeah, but the 2 games on us doesn't come into factor unless we have a tied overall record.
That's correct.
Right? So if you have an overall record first, if we are, let's say 12-5 and they're 11-5-1, we win.
Yes.
Right? So if we are 12, let's say we're 11-6-1 and they're 11-6-1 and the Bears are 10-7, then the Packers win because they have the head-to-head.
Yes.
So we just have to have a half a game more than they do in the win column. Well, we need a full game. We can't tie. We have to have a full game more than they do. We have to end up with 1 more in the W than they have. That's it. And that can be done. That can be done. It's tough.
I just think with the way things have been panning out, there's been a clear message that we will be a wild card team. And in order for us to be a wild card team, we need to win. I don't even want to say 4 out of the last 6 games. Like I think we need to win 5 out of the last 6 games.
Yeah, I'm doing the playoff predictor as you're talking right now, and the good thing is the Packers and the Bears play twice, And just for giggles, I'm probably going to have them split in this first predictor and kind of see where that ends up. But yesterday I ran it a couple of different ways.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I also think Green Bay last night changed what they did to us defensively. I don't think they played a soft cover 2 shell on us like they did week 1 and blanketed everything from the line of scrimmage to 10 yards out. I think they played a little more man. I think they played a little more of a cover 3 approach to where that safety's coming down into the box.
Yeah.
Maybe it's cover 3 match. I don't know what the play calls were specifically, but that's what it looked like a lot to me. I think our offensive line needs to start winning those one-on-one battles, especially when they're only rushing forward. Like, there's no reason Goff should not have time in the pocket. And as the game progressively went on, our O-line got better and better. Christian Kowalski, I think he did a good job in the center, definitely better than what we've seen from Graham Glasgow.
You think so? I didn't focus in on him a whole lot.
So when I watch the plays, or like when I watch a game, I'm watching the trenches.
Trenches,
and the quarterback. Whatever happens downfield, I can watch again on a highlight. They're going to show me that again, especially on TV. They're going to show me that again on the highlight.
That makes sense.
So I'm always watching the trenches from the start of the play to the end of the play until they move the camera angle. I don't care who's running what routes because they're going to show me that in slow motion, and then I can digest everything else based off how the personnel's moving on the field.
And I would say largely I do the same thing, but yesterday when the penalties started to rain and the flags started to come out, I kind of switched to watching the center of the defense and then watching Jared Goff because of the pressure by Green Bay. I was watching Jared Goff and obviously the running back, whoever it was, Gibbs or Montgomery. And then I would go back because they're not showing us anything in stadium anymore. We are not getting replays. They hardly ever show replays in the stadium. So I have
the reason why they do that is so that they can control the narrative.
Yep.
And not let the flags affect the crowd stadium, because now you're always questioning. As soon as they put a flag on the field, you're looking for a replay so you can see if there was really a flag or not.
Yeah, right? So what I do is now I have NFL running on my phone now all the time. So I'm watching it live and then watching the replay immediately. There's about a 10-second delay, 15-second delay. And then I'm watching it again right after the fact.
It's the same thing on TV. They're airing 50% less of the flags on replay because they don't want to show you what they're calling. They just want the refs to make the decisions on the field and let that end all be all. That's the final decision. There's no room for prejudice in that matter because they're not showing you the flag unless you go back and watch it in slow motion after you see a flag. So there was one flag that repeatedly kept getting thrown on us. It was on our left tackle, Taylor Decker. I forget what it was. It was really, really annoying me because I kept asking my buddy, I was on the phone with him during the game, I kept asking him, what the heck is this flag they keep throwing? It was
illegal formation?
Something about it illegal. Yeah. On the left tackle. And I was like, what the heck do they keep throwing this flag for?
I couldn't hear what they were saying, but it sounded like something uncovered or overwhelmingly uncovered, something stupid. I couldn't hear it.
Yeah. And that sounds like a defensive problem, not an offensive problem. If the defense isn't putting a body over the left tackle, how is that on the left tackle? I don't understand this flag they kept throwing on Taylor Decker.
Yeah.
And it happened
they threw it on Skip.
At the start of a drive. It happened at the start of a drive every single time. And then we'd always be 1st and 15 or 2nd and 15. And we'd have to climb out of this hole. And I didn't quite fully understand it. But it seemed like it was a consistent consistent narrative, they were trying to extend any and every favor they could towards Green Bay to try and A, outscore Detroit, but B, keep Detroit in a more difficult position to where the pass rushers could just sit back and get to Goff.
Yeah.
And that was quite frustrating. My last point here, sorry to keep you for so long.
No, you're good. I got a couple more callers. What else did you want to share?
Detroit's got to get out of this bunch formation stuff.
Yeah.
Spread out that defense, spread them wide, run 3 wide receivers to one side, 1 wide receiver to the other. I'm tired of looking at all our offensive weapons side by side with our offensive line. It's making it more difficult on Jared Goff to see what blitz is coming and who's coming. Plus, you're containing that defense to allow more of a various disguise on what kind of coverage they're in. Plus, you're letting those safeties come in and decide if they're going to attack or bounce outside or bounce back. If you're spreading them out wide, like, you can see what the defense is doing. You can dissect it. You can play it better. We need to spread this offense out. Play to our strength, which is speed and size on the outside.
Yeah, I got you. Bud. All right, we'll get you the next one, man.
For keeping you for so long.
No, you're fine. Have a good rest of your morning, man. Happy belated Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
That was your breakdown by Robbie Ones. Appreciate him always for calling in, man. There's a lot to talk about in this game. I know a lot of you have a lot to say. So the second caller that I put on hold there, where I kind of ended your call, 989 number. I don't know the name. There we go. Good morning. You're on Rockhound Detroit Lions. Who's on the line? Hello? Oh, they must have hung up. Try again. We'll wait for you here for a little bit before we get the third caller in. So playoff predictor. Oh, I'll come back to that. Hi, good morning. You're on Rockhound Detroit Lions. Who's on the line?
James.
I'm sorry, did you say James?
Yes, sir.
All right, good morning, James. How are you?
Pretty good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a little thin, but I can hear you.
Yeah, my voice isn't the greatest. I just had a couple things to talk about.
Sure.
So, you were talking about J-Mo on that drop on 4th down.
Yep.
If you listen to the commentary, Tom Brady, who I take a high regard for, considering what he's done for the NFL, he said that pass for J-Mo was the hardest catch to make, and you kept blaming J-Mo. Why don't you put no blame on Goff? He wasn't pressured on that play bad. He threw it behind him, and he threw a missile. I think you're blaming J-Mo too much. He started off the year hot. Then they started trying to focus more on St. Brown these last handful of games. I don't believe that's J-Mo's fault.
Okay. If you listen to J-Mo after the game, he'll tell you he dropped it.
But Goff put blame on him too. Goff said that drop was partially on him too after the game.
Yeah, I mean they're both going to accept their responsibilities, but if you watch the play, which I'm going to bring it up right in front of me right now, and let me just dial it in here. Go ahead to your second thing while I'm pulling this up.
Okay, now on the Hutch. So there's a lot of y'all that keep saying Hutch ain't worth it. So Hutch is 9th in sacks in the NFL right now. There is less than 1 sack that separates him from to 6. So if he gets 1 more sack than somebody else, he can go up to potentially 6.
Okay.
So he's 7th in tackles for losses, and he's number 1 in forced fumbles. So in 3 major statistical categories in DNs, he is top 10.
Okay, so
how do you say he is not worth it? And he's the youngest.
All right, so I'll give you 3 quick things. Number 1, I don't care what you do between each sack. I'm sorry, I care everything about what you do between each sack. When you get cleanup sacks, when you get sacks that are after 3.5 seconds, that's not exciting to me or anybody else that actually knows football. That is a cleanup sack. That is pressure that is brought by everybody on the defensive line. You just happen to win, and your secondary is what's giving you that sack. Hutch does not have one sack on this season under 2.5 seconds. So he is not able to beat tackles cleanly. He is only double teamed less than 43% of the time. If you want to look at an elite defensive end, go look at Myles Garrett, because it doesn't matter how many times he's double teamed, triple teamed, doubled and chipped, singled and chipped, he always wins. That is that is an elite. Yeah, that is an elite defensive end. Okay, but here's the second thing I'll give you. So I just gave you 2 or 3 kind of right there. 1, no quick sacks. 2, Aiden Hutchinson cannot beat a one-on-one with anyone that has longer arms than himself. When Hutch gets engaged with a tackle one-on-one, Jordan Mailata was one. Illuminor was another in the New York Giants game. Hutch didn't show up that entire game until the last sack of the game. And again, the entire defensive line collapsed around Jameis Winston, and Hutch was able to get to him. Hutch is not winning one-on-one, and that is the biggest thing. So if your defensive line can't do anything, Hutch needs to be able to step up. And he's not. He's not winning his reps early. They're all coming late. The third thing I will give you is go look at the games that Aiden Hutchinson has had multi-sacks, and then go look at the level of offensive line that he's going up against or the tackles that he's winning against. They are typically second or third string or some of the worst offensive lines in the league. Aiden Hutchinson against a top-flight offensive line does not win. He has never really won against a top-rated offensive line. So the stats are meaningless, right? It's how you win a game. The forced fumbles, yeah, can't knock Aiden for that. Can't knock him for that at all. Those are great plays. Those are the plays that we expect him to make. You also have to look at when a sack happens. Okay, if you get a sack early in the downs, and Aiden is racking up all these stats early, what happens on the next play? Far and few between does Aiden go in and stop him on the next play with a TFL or shut down the run or get any pressure on the quarterback that shuts that, turns it into a 3 and out. No, they usually get a 17, 18-yard completion or a big run, and now that sack was meaningless because now they got a fresh set of downs. I need to see sacks on 3rd down. I need to see sacks on 4th down. I need to see more fourth quarter play. Quarterback hits. Nobody in their right mind cares about a quarterback hit when the ball is being released before you even get to the quarterback. It's called a quarterback hit because you touched the quarterback and he went to the ground. That is not a play that affected the pass. It is not a play that affected anything. Pressures. Aiden has a lot of pressures. Well, if you know what pressures are, you'll know that there's 18 different statistical categories to earn a pressure in the NFL. When 20 years ago, there was only one that really mattered, and that was under 2.5 seconds. A pressure is simply moving that tackle or that guard one yard into the box. That's it, or into the pocket. That's really not doing a whole lot. So stats don't matter.
We're top 5. This stat matters. We are top 5 in sacks in the NFL this year at this moment. We are top 5. You can't ask for much more on a defensive front. Here's the problems that nobody is talking about. DJ Reed has been out. Our secondary is crushing us. I watch every game. And I've been watching football since 1988. The Lions particularly. Our corners, our safeties are killing us. You know why? Reed just got back.
I get all that. No, look, I get all that, but trust me.
Been hurt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Our defensive line is not hurting us. You can't blame Hutch. You can't blame Reader. You can't blame what we've had. We're fifth statistically in the NFL. We get pressures. We get hurries. There's not much of a run game against us.
And you're right. There's not much of a run game against us. And I would agree with you on all the other statistical lines there in the fact that we do have a good defense, but I don't know how often you watch this show, but I will tell
you. I haven't watched it lately because of my job, but I'm Buchanan on your
okay. So
Buchanan.
I got
I
you.
used to watch it religiously.
So I got you. So then you would know that I'm a pretty fair individual, that I put everything out there and put all the stats in line to speak nothing but truth. But the stats with PFF are garbage. The grades on the grades on PFF are garbage. I look at straight stats and where we line up. Our defensive secondary has been banged up this year. Yeah, so that doesn't help, but a quarterback having 3+ seconds of time to throw means that the secondary is doing something. Because if you're not able to get to the quarterback in under 3 seconds, then the defensive line is not getting enough pressure. But then again, we have to look at the other side of the coin, Buchanan, and that is, what is the defensive call? Because when you're playing contain, then the quarterback's going to have more time to throw. And then you're not really getting after the quarterback. And so when Hutch gets all these sacks playing contain, that's because the defensive secondary is holding. We're not doing a whole lot on the defensive line, but trying to make sure that they can't run, and then we collapse late. So you have to take each game, I guess, as a microcosm of the season and look at each game independently and then look at what Aiden is and is not doing. What I will do is this, and then I'm not saying that Aiden's a bad football player. I'm saying that he's not as elite as what some people think he is. He is not affecting the game at the time that $181 million defensive end should be affecting the game.
I think he's fifth. I think he's 5 right now. I think Garrett. I think Parsons. Crosby's having a hell of a year. Nobody's talking about him because he's not on a great team. But I think he's 5th.
Okay, so you mentioned sacks kind of to start. So do you think that sacks are the main measure for a defensive end? Like, is that the main measuring stick?
No, I put into what his production has been. I put in the fact that he's the youngest out of the top 5. And I put in the factor that I don't think he's got full trust in his knee right now. I don't think he's giving it everything he's got every play right now.
Okay.
I think that's a lot of what's going on. His youth, his injury, and production.
Yeah, I got you. So Aiden is 9th right now in sacks. He has 8.5, and he has 12 games in on the season, where everybody ahead of him has 11 games in on the season, not named Micah Parsons or Brian Burns. He has 8.5 sacks by ESPN standards. And the reason why I asked you about sacks is because Al-Qadim Muhammad is 20th with 6. So I think that's something that needs to be put into the conversation here. That if Al-Qadim Muhammad is only 2 sacks behind him, and he's played half the snaps that Aiden has played, that means he's way more efficient than what Aiden has been.
Right.
So I take it all with a grain of salt, and I try to mix it all together and put a recipe together when I discuss these guys, and it's from a place of love, never hate. It's reality for me. I don't like to speak untruth about anything. I like to have good, open, hard conversations. Aiden's a great player. He's all Detroit. He's a great locker room guy. He's a great teammate. But right now, we need more from a guy that just got a massive deal. He needs to perform to that level. Even though he's not getting paid that money right now, he needs to perform to that level. And I just don't think we're getting enough when the game is on the line.
He's got one more year before that money, right?
I think so, because he's playing on his 5th-year option next year. I don't think that they redid the whole deal.
Yeah.
I think we have him for 6 years.
So right now he's on his rookie contract still.
Yeah, and he's still a top 10. Yeah, but the money doesn't matter though. Like, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter how much he's getting paid. Like, you don't. you shouldn't play better just because you're getting paid. But at the same time, what I'm saying is he's about to get 181 million. He's the highest paid defensive end from a guaranteed perspective. That's what he needs to play up to. I mean, you need to show us that you're worth that kind of money, because when you boil it all down, there's a stat that I will go into here pretty soon, not today, but another day, where how much it's costing you for each sack, each TFL, each tackle, each fumble, yada, yada, yada. There's a way to measure it to see if you're actually playing to what you're worth. And right now, Myles Garrett is playing to what he's worth. Micah Parsons is playing to what he's worth.
Myles Garrett's 5 years older than Aiden. Look at what Myles Garrett did when he was 24, and look what Myles Garrett did when he was 26. Massive difference. There's a major difference in that age group, and that's what I'm talking about when you look at the difference in the $180 million contract that he'll get in the future, because they're judging Aiden in growth. That's why they were able to give him that money, because they feel he's going to grow that much more in 2 years.
We'll see. So Aiden's in his 4th season.
Yep.
Age doesn't matter because he's been in the league for 4 years. He's been a vet now for a season. Myles Garrett, when he was a rookie, he had 7 sacks. When he was a sophomore, he had 13 and a half. That's more than Aiden's ever had in a single year. In his 3rd year, he had 10. In his 4th year, he had 12. In his 5th year, he had 16, then 16, then 14, then 14, then 18. So through the first 4 seasons of his career, he has outperformed what Aiden has done, and they were the same age. So I'm not going to put age into it. I'm going to put seasons into it. How many seasons have you played? You're a number 2 overall pick for a reason. You've got to play to that potential.
I agree.
So all good stuff, man. All good stuff. And I can tell that you're a pretty staunch Lions supporter. And so am I. And so am I, obviously. I mean, 27 years with season tickets. I go to just about every single home game. So it's what did you have a third thing, I think you said?
Yeah, the one other thing is I want to talk about our offense in general. I see a lot of people talking on the chat about letting Jamo fly. We can't let Jamo fly when our offense line is as bad as it is. I also heard other people talking about.
I believe that.
We should have drafted somebody else. Yeah, who would we not drafted? Would you not want a Gibbs? Would you not want a Laporta? I mean, it's hard to say. You can't really go back to the JMO draft because Frank wasn't known then. It would have been the Gibbs draft or after.
Are you talking about drafted? Are you talking about drafting the center? I'm sorry. What are you talking about drafting?
Yeah, center for Ragnow.
Yeah, so that would have been a 3rd round pick most likely. And there was plenty of opportunity. Like the Broderick Martin pick comes to mind. You could have. There's a lot of things that they could have done in the 3rd round of any one of these drafts. I'd have to go back and look at each draft, but I'm pretty positive the guys that I wanted that are playing in the league right now were drafted late 2nd or late 3rd, somewhere in between there. And the Lions had enough. They had plenty of draft capital that they could have moved around and done some things a little bit differently. We would have never given up any of the guys that we drafted in the 1st and 2nd round. Hendon Hooker.
So you were looking at 3rd for starters. Okay, I got you.
3rd for a center. For a center, not a left tackle.
Here on that one.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yep.
So I get that comment now.
Yep.
And then I think a lot of people are saying we're done. I don't think people understand how. Ragnow, he's not coming back in to like a position player. He's coming back to center.
Yeah.
He's going to be effective, I think, against the Cowboys.
I hope so. I hope he's back and ready to rock and roll. Buchanan, thank you for the call, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good day, man.
You too.
All right. Take a quick break between calls. We got 2 more callers that want to get in. Give me just a second. I want to go through just a couple of quick things, and then I'll text you back, and then you'll be able to call back in. All right. I actually gotta check my sugar real quick here. I've had this problem with my sugar now. Yesterday, it was so weird, man. We leave the game. I hadn't eaten anything since 1 o'clock. And my sugar was at 255. And then I get down the road a little bit, start to feel funny. And my sugar was at 50. Don't ask me how. Because I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything different. I definitely didn't eat a bunch of sugar to have it go up to 255. I had a piece of pizza and I had a Coke, which the Coke, I guess, could have driven it up a little bit. Uh-oh. Hold on. One sec. Oh, now we lost the chair. So this is just one of those things that they got to figure out for me, because if I'm feeling like that, man, that's not good, right? Just give me 1 second. I'm a little late on checking. All right. Okay, we're still alive. We're still alive. We're good. All right, so I want to bring in the playoff predictor for a moment. I want to talk about that. Here's what I did. Let me see if I can get it up on the screen. Everything got switched on me, so. Actually, let's do this. Let's take a quick timeout. I did want to listen to Dan Campbell. I don't know how many people we have in right now, but I did want to listen to Dan Campbell. That figures that's all off. Let me get this fixed. Huh? Actually, there's probably some right there. So I did want to take a listen to Dan Campbell and kind of break down what he had said yesterday. Thank you. Let's do that. Let's take a quick break and do that. And then I'll get the playoff predictor loaded up. We'll go through the playoff predictor. We'll take a couple more calls and we'll be out. All right, Dan Campbell.
Okay. Credit that team and Matt. You know, they did a good job, man. They closed that game out, and you know, they made the critical plays. You know, proud of the way our guys fought. You know, I feel like came in ready to go from that aspect, and certainly plenty of energy. But really, this game came down to fourth down and those critical moments, and we were 0 for 2, and they were able to capitalize on 3 of them. So, you know, and those are the 1 or 2 plays really that make the difference when you're playing a really good team. So, That's really kind of what it came down to. So, like I told the team, it's frustrating. I know we got a lot to be thankful for, even after a loss. And look, we dug ourselves in a little bit of a hole. That's the bottom line. We are in a little bit of a hole, but that's just what it is. There's nothing more than that. So all we got to do is worry about cleaning up this and then getting to the next game and finding a way to win the next one in front of us. That will be after this day or two here. They get off. That's what the focus will be.
Things on the fourth downs. You guys have gone a few games now without converting one. Is there something that is happening on some of those rights that you have that you did early on, and then Green Bay's decision on that last one just to go for it? Playing for the win, I guess.
Yeah, it was a good decision. I mean, just going for the win, finish the game, man, and they came up with it. I thought, look, BB was in phase, man. That was sticky coverage, and 13 went up and made a hell of a play. So credit to them. But it wasn't like we weren't in position. That's just those are those moments, But I don't look at it. Look, one of those, I didn't like one of those fourth down calls. It felt like I don't know how good of an opportunity we really gave our guys on that first one. But we had an opportunity, and even at the end of the day, we had an opportunity, and we couldn't, we just couldn't get it done there later in the game. So,
Change your approach at all? The struggles you guys have had?
No, I mean it's still a lot of it depends on where the game is at too, man. Where the game's at, the opponent, how your defense is playing. What do you feel like you have a real good handle on what you're going to get from that defense? Who you're going to, all those things. And so, going into it, we like those plays. So no, I wouldn't say necessarily that's going to have an effect on me. You always want to convert them, and we've had a lot of conversions here. It just didn't work out today.
You lose 9 minutes into the game. He's probably a big part of this game plan. We're already without the lead. You just talked about needing somebody to step up, and Campbell did that for you. Tom had some good catches here down the seam. Just you guys stepped up. I know you fell short, but you had to probably be proud of the way some of those guys stepped up and played on the outside.
For sure. And when you lose a guy like Saint, it's tough. I mean, there's so many things that he brings to our offense. Everybody knows the production and the versatility he has. Also, all the dirty work he does in the run game and all the little things, man, the nuances of where you line up to where you go to who you block. If it's this look to now if they go here, you need to slide back to do that. I mean, he's so freaking smart, man. And he's tough. And so there's a million jobs he does, and he does them at a high level that it hurts when you lose him. So, he and Laporta were kind of those guys for us. And when you lose those guys and then Leafs the next one, it becomes difficult. But with that, a guy like JMO stepped up, and I thought he was electric, made a lot of big plays for us, that was good to see. And we thought he would, get it in his hands. I wish he could have gotten his hands more. We had some calls there that the defense took him away, and so it had to go somewhere else. But he did a good job. TK, we trust TK. It's why he's here. It's why he's on the vet squad, and we elevate him because he can return for us, which he did, and he can do a million jobs on offense. Tesla made some big plays today, so that is a positive. We had 3 really new tight ends. Now, Dwelly's played for us, but Dwelly kind of started for us. Obviously, we used Skip, and then there was Ferkshire and Horton. So, and it was good to see those guys go compete and mix it up.
How do you feel like the pass rush has struggled to make impact plays so consistently over the last couple of games?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I need to, until I watch this game, I want to know what this game looks like before I make a comment on that, So I'm not sure.
Outlook on St. Brown, any idea?
Well, I'll know more tomorrow. I don't feel like this is long term, so that's the good news, but that doesn't mean it won't be here for, could be a week or two, maybe, if we're lucky.
So you mentioned dug a hole. How difficult, if he's out and other guys have been injured, how do you see your way out of this hole?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is this, just know with kind of where we're at with the division, and it's more that you need a little help. You got to do your job, you got to win, and you need a little help. And that's what it is. But it all starts with you doing your job, which is us, and finding a way to win. The next one in front of us. It really is that simple. And don't make more of it than needs be. It's frustrating. It sucks. It's tough. But we've done it. We did it to ourselves. And we're the only ones who are going to get out of it as well.
Coach, we saw the news of Frank Ragnar obviously going forward. How much are you looking forward to adding him to the mix and just your reaction to him?
Yeah, fired up. Fired up to get Frank, to get him back. He wants to play. He wants to be a part of it. He misses the game. He misses his teammates, and so we're really fired up, man. He brings. He's a good football player. He brings a good football player, a lot of production back to that old line and the game itself. But he's also a great teammate, man. He was one of our captains, so he brings a lot to our team.
Can you explain how that all came about? A couple weeks ago, it sounded like thinking that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I think this is something that's been on his mind for a while, and and then he called me, so we were good. What's that?
When did he call you? When did this process?
Yesterday morning is when I got the call officially. Now I know there was other things, and look, his teammates had talked to him. I know some of those guys have been back and forth with him. And I got wind of something, not too long ago. But hey, man, we're fired up.
On the topic of the O-line, I know you're not going to make excuses, but how difficult has it been to get into a rhythm with the injuries up front, with the youth up front, and how detrimental has it been to try to find that rhythm this season?
Well, yeah, I mean, it just, things are a little different. That's all. It's just a little different. That's the best way to say it. So sometimes you got to go about things a little differently. And I thought those guys battled up there today, man. I thought they did some good things in the run game. I did think we had some pretty good protection. A lot of our play pass stuff. Now, I know we got hit on some stuff, but those guys went in there and competed. Cologne started for us at center, man. I thought he was clear. I thought communication was good. Tried to finish. But there's more to it than that too. When things don't go right, it's all encompassing, man. I'm part of that. All right, I can always be better and need to be better, but it really is. It's all the positions. It's not just O-line. So, and that's what it's all about. And finding our own rhythm, man. And once we find the rhythm, keep the rhythm. And you just got to go about it a certain way.
Dave and Sean, enough urgency on that last drive.
Yes,
6-minute hit.
I know that's frustrating when you're a fan watching, but I know how we needed to play against that defensive front. All right, and it was about playing for the last possession. We were going to do that. Defense was going to get the stop. We were going to use our timeouts, get one more shot to go win the game, and that's how we were playing it. I wanted to play it just like that. So I wanted to keep it in our hands. And not turn it into a pin your ears back and start flying up the field with Micah Parsons and those guys.
Sean, last question.
Dan, where do you think you are with your feel of the flow of calling plays?
Well, I can always be better. I mean, I can always be better. But look, I'm always going to want more. I'm always going to feel like I need to do some things a little bit different, but you can always go hindsight on all this. Well, man, why did you run it here? You should have, I wish I would have played pass on this one. I wish I would have dropped back on this one. Well, so, but ultimately, look, we didn't win the game. But as far as the way that I wanted to play that game offensively, that was the vision I had for it. We got to convert, man. Those first two series that we had, we got to find a way to convert on third, and then the fourth downs. So you're talking about 2 or 3 plays ultimately against a good team in that moment that made the difference.
One thing, without St. Brown, aren't your fourth down, even at third down options, a little bit limited? And is that where you have to adjust somewhat?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's certainly he's such a he's a playmaker, and he does a ton for us. And so, Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't want to say that it doesn't influence you or affect you, but yet I do have a lot of trust in Tom Kennedy. I do have a lot of trust in JMO, especially when we know what the coverage is and we got him running. We still got Gibbs. And so, man, if you like the players and you like the play, there'll be sometimes you may not like the coverages you think you may get, or if it's, the ball's going to go to this player and it's this route that you're going to have to win on, maybe you don't like it. But, in the moment, it felt like the right thing to do today.
Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. 4 simple.
Okay. Didn't get a ton from Dan. I'm glad that he wants to watch the film before he commented on the pass rush. So maybe we'll get that today if there is a conference today. I'm not so sure that there is. Being the day after a holiday, they probably have the day off. Obviously, they have the day off. I'm sure Dan has the day off as well. I would assume. A couple of things that I wanted to take out of this. Number one, missing 6 starters in this game. You're missing Sam Laporta. You're missing Brock Wright. Which, if you guys heard me last week, I was livid at Brock Wright diving the way that he did and ended up on his head, which caused the neck injury. And that's why he was out of this game. Sometimes you can't do that stuff. You got to take what the play gives you and get out of bounds. It is what it is. He's injured. I hate to see him injured. And he would probably do it again, because that's what he felt he needed to do on that play. But missing 6 starters, Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Amon-Ra St. Brown ends up going out, Graham Glasgow, Khalif Raymond. Who am I missing? Who am I missing in this game? Well, Christian Mahogany's still out. Obviously, he's not going to be back. So it's at least 6 starters that you're missing in this game. So we have half of our offense. We have a third of our offensive weaponry for Jared Goff. And so if I'm the Packers, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, holy smokes, they just beat us with half an offense, or almost beat us with half an offense, and JMO and Gibbs. Most teams would love to have just a JMO and a Gibbs and a Demo and a TK85 and an Isaac Tesla he's a rook, man. It's going to take some time. Most teams would love to have those weapons. For the Lions, it's just not enough when your offensive line is not functioning at a high level. You can't utilize what you have on the field, all the time. So we almost beat the Packers depleted once again. And I think that that's more of an indictment on the Packers than it is on the Lions not able to pull it out. So I think that we, hard-fought game. And that is something that we need to take with us to the next game. We can match up against anybody when the chips are down. And I think that is an absolute mark on Dan Campbell's ability to be able to get this team ready to play. Yeah, the play calling can be suspect at times. I'll be the first one to tell you that. The protections, I think, are a problem still, and we're not utilizing enough protection. But a lot of that changes when you don't have the same offensive identity going into the game. And by identity, I mean your starters. Had we had those weapons, this is probably a different outcome. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, hand grenades and horseshoes, right? It's not what happened. There was plays that were left on the field. There were calls that were probably bad calls. I don't know that I agree with Dan on the last drive in wanting to try to finish with the ball in their hands. And the entire stadium was screaming timeout. The entire stadium was booing when Dan Campbell was wasting all of our timeouts. And I said, every week if you've ever watched any of the live streams that I've done and we're getting down and it's a tight game and I'm like, Dan, call a freaking timeout, right? There's 3 minutes, 4 minutes left on the clock. Typically the 3-minute mark is when I would start to look, to use my timeouts depending on what's going on in the game, where the ball is. Look, if they're in scoring position, if they're, north of the 30-yard line and there's 3 minutes on the clock, I'm probably not going to use a timeout until the last 10, 15 seconds before the 2-minute warning, or possibly 45 seconds before the 2-minute. It just all depends. It depends on how much time is left on the play clock and the game clock as to where you want to use that first timeout so that you can actually get 4 timeouts utilizing the 2-minute warning. Where I felt that he made a giant mistake was not withholding 1 timeout. You have to keep 1 timeout to use underneath the 2-minute warning. That 4th down call by the Packers, I think that we could have had a better defensive call. I think that you absolutely should have doubled up Watson, and you should have doubled up the other receiver. I can't remember who was on the field for that play. And your linebackers were going to have to play big man ball against Jones and the tight ends. But if you take away their 2 receivers, you definitely have enough in your front 7 to take care of the run game, and you have a couple of linebackers that can take care of the tight ends. I would have brought everybody up in the box. We put a guy deep. Pretty sure we were in zone that play, single man that play, or high single, and that's not what I would have been in. I would not have been playing a total man up. I would have been playing a little bit of man off. I would have playing with a little bit of man under, and I would have brought everybody up. I would have painted that first down marker. Nobody's getting past that first down marker. And if they do, well, then it's man on man and you go make a play. I'll lose to that. But I'm not going to lose to you not having enough guys draped all over their offensive playmakers and doubling up to make a play. I think it was a bad call. I really do. And I think it was a bad decision not to hold the timeout back. It wouldn't have helped us. After they got the first down, it was over. But you would have needed that first or that extra timeout to be able to keep the clock in your favor while you're going the other way. The Lions do have a really good 90-second offense. I know it's not a typical NFL term, but that's just what I call it. The 90-second offense. You got a minute and a half on the clock. The Lions can score. They've done it many times, and they can score with no timeouts. But I believe you still need a timeout because you just don't know what's going to happen. And then the play calling, it needs to get better. It needs to get better. To break down a little bit of what he said, TK is trusted 100%. You got to keep this guy up for the rest of the season somehow. Tesla did make a few big plays yesterday. He's still young, so there's a lot of things that he's not able to do. I think that he gives everything he can in the run game. Having 3 new tight ends on this roster, right? And 3 new tight ends kind of in this game. I mean, that tells you a lot right there. The rhythm, yeah. There was no rhythm in this game for the offense once again. St. Brown, I just saw a message on St. Brown. According to sources here, Amon-Ra St. Brown left with a right knee plus a left ankle after being rolled up on. And the official looks to be a light ankle sprain. Nothing with the knee. Hold on here. Per Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, St. Brown suffered a low ankle sprain against the Packers. That is optimistic considering all things, especially with the team only having 1 game to play over the next 15 days. So expect Amon-Ra St. Brown to be out. According to Tom Pelissero, his exact quote, Lions wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown is believed to have suffered a low ankle sprain, sources say, and he will, and while he continues to be evaluated, it's good news so far on his chances for returning sooner rather than later. That was written this morning. It's still morning, right? Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. Yeah, Rick's, we don't have a trap. We have a stadium. That's good news. That means I would expect Amon-Ra St. Brown back before the Cowboys game. Absolutely would expect him back for the Cowboys game. He's going to have to be back. Playoff predictor. Let me do this real quick. We'll run through it, and if you guys still want to call, feel free. I'll open up the phone lines again after the fact. Apologize, couldn't get to everybody so far. Oh, that's not it. Still have that going? Thought I shut that down a long time ago. Where is the Twitter capture? Here it is. Okay. Let's try that again. All right, that's a little bit off. Let me try to fix this. So I wanted to roll through this real quick just to kind of show everybody, look, we're not out. And as a matter of fact, we still are in pretty good position. It's not as doom and gloom. I guess that's as best as that's going to get. It's not as doom and gloom. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. Let's roll through it. There we go. Now I can fix it. All right, there we go. Okay, so let me get back to week 13 here. Obviously, the Lions took the L yesterday. Dallas won last night in a bit of a shocker. Move it up to 10-6-1. According to my predictions by the end of the season. Oops, 13. There we go. So, Dallas, Cincy, I got them winning. Philly, we're going to go there. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to go through the NFC North, actually. Let's make this quick. Green Bay. I got Philly beating the Bears. Come on, stay on the screen. I got Philly beating the Bears. Obviously, we have LA beating the Panthers. San Francisco beating Cleveland, which honestly, Cleveland could probably pull that out. I think I accidentally just changed that. Tampa, I think they'll beat Arizona. That's week 13. Week 14, Lions are going to have to take down the Cowboys. Seattle they'll take care of Atlanta. Green Bay, I got them beating the Bears in their first meeting. The Vikings will probably lose. I got Tampa beating New Orleans. LA beating Arizona. Philly taking care of the Chargers. That could be a different type of a game. Tampa beating Atlanta in week 15. We got Philly taking on the Raiders. They'll beat the Raiders. Denver's going to beat Green Bay. Right now, I got the Lions beating the Rams. We'll see how that changes. We got Seattle taking care of Indianapolis. San Francisco beating Tennessee. Dallas beating Minnesota. Week 16, I got the Seahawks beating the Rams. And I got the Bears beating the Packers in their second meeting. We'll flip that back and forth, too. I got Philly beating Washington. New England beating the Ravens there. Moving on to the NFC. I got the Vikings losing again. I don't like the Vikings getting a good draft pick next year, but it is what it is. Denver taking care of Jacksonville. That game could actually flip. Lions are going to have to beat Pittsburgh. Colts beating San Francisco. Week 17. Dallas beats Washington. Lions beat Minnesota. Denver over KC. Got Seattle over Carolina. Tampa over the Dolphins. Buffalo beating Philly. San Francisco beating Chicago. LA beating Atlanta. And then week 18, I got the Lions beating the Bears right now in Chicago. I got the Rams taking care of the Cardinals. I got Green Bay beating Minnesota. Dallas beating New York. Philly beating Washington. Seattle beating San Francisco. So where does that leave us? That leaves the Lions as the 3rd seed. Seattle at 1, Philly at 2, Green Bay at 7. Rams at 5, San Francisco at 6, Tampa at 4, and that gives the Lions 12-5, winning the North and having the 3 seed. Well, let's see how that flips. Let's start with week 18. Let's say the Lions lose this game. The Bears win the North. The Lions end up as the 7th seed. So if we win every game from here on out and we lose week 18, we're still in. We're just at the bottom, taking on Philly. And the Bears win the North. Well, that can't happen. Let's go back to week 13. You got Philly and the Bears. That's today, right? At like 4 o'clock, I think. Let's say the Bears win this one. Well, as long as we beat the Bears in week 18, the Lions still win the North at 12-5. I think that's the ticket, 12-5. That's the ticket. Philly would still remain as a 2 seed. Lions would remain as number 3. Bears would creep in at number 7. Packers out of the playoffs. So I'm going to leave the Bears there. We'll go to week 14. We got Green Bay beating the Bears. Well, what if the Bears won? Well, Bears are at 12-5. Lions still take the North. Lions still in 3rd. Bears move up to the 6th seed. Not worried about any of the other teams right now. I really only care about the North and how we get in. Week 15. Bears in Cleveland. I got the Bears beating Cleveland. And I got Denver beating Green Bay. Well, let's just say Green Bay flips it. Well, Green Bay would be 10-6-1 now. Lions still in at 1. Bears 2. Green Bay 3rd. Green Bay still not in the playoffs, even if they beat Denver. And in week 16, the Bears beat Green Bay. All right, let's say Green Bay beats the Bears. Lions still 1 at 12-5. Green Bay at 2 at 11-5-1. Lions still at 3. Green Bay at 6. Bears bounced out. Week 17, Lions. There's no way we're losing to Minnesota again. It can't happen. And I don't think Green Bay is going to beat Baltimore, even though I do believe Baltimore has a really good defense at times. Offense at times. It's Green Bay's defense that I'm a little bit concerned about. Let's say Green Bay wins. Well, the Lions are still in the playoffs, but we're not going to win the North. So do we really see the Packers beating Baltimore, beating the Bears twice, or even once? They're going to beat Minnesota in week 18. That's a lock. Week 17, and maybe it's not a lock. It depends on what Minnesota does with their defense. Do they even care in that game? Do they want to play spoiler? Do they want the Lions in versus the Packers? All sorts of stuff can go on there. I'm going to leave Baltimore over Green Bay. Week 16, they're away at Soldier Field. That could be a nasty game for Green Bay. They're used to playing in cold weather. Let's just give it to the Bears. Week 15, Cleveland could absolutely mess up the Bears with that defense. They really could. They could get after Caleb Williams. There's no way that Green Bay is going to beat Denver, right? I just don't see it happening. I think that their defensive ends, outside linebackers, and the way that Sean Payton has been dialing up this team this year, I think that Denver's going to take care of Green Bay. So realistically, what am I doing with Green Bay the rest of the year? Well, they're going to win against Minnesota. That's 1. Week 17. Week 17, I have them losing. So that's 1-1. Week 16, I have them losing to the Bears right now. So that's 1-2. Week 15, I have Denver beating them. So that's 1-3. Two and 3. They'll beat the Bears in week 14. I think 2 and 3 is realistic. I think 2 and 3 is realistic for the Bear or for the Packers. Am I wrong? Am I way off here? Packers 2 and 3? Give them week 14 against Chicago. Week 15, Denver wins. Week 16, Bears win. All right, let's give it to Green Bay. So they beat the Bears in Soldier Field. Week 17, they lose to Baltimore. Week 18, they beat the Bears again. Or we beat the Bears. They beat the Vikings. So that gives them 11-5-1, second in the North, 6th seed. Okay, the same exercise for the Bears. Bears and Lions week 18. I think they'll win. Let's start back at week 14. Remember, the Bears are playing the number 1 schedule right now. I think the Bears are frauds. Honestly, I don't think the Green Bay Packers are that great. They just beat up a bad team yesterday that beat themselves, honestly. I don't think that the Bears are going to be able to hang with Green Bay in Green Bay. Bears lose. Week 15. Bears win. Week 16. Bears lose to Green Bay again. Week 17. We've got the Bears and who? Where are we at? San Fran. Okay. Let's say that they go pull one out. That's cool. Go pull one out. They're in the playoffs. Three NFC North teams are in the playoffs now. But they're still in third place. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Craig Reynolds just signed with the Patriots? You've got to be kidding me. Week 18. The Lions have to win. If the Lions lose, well, now we're third place in the North, but we're still in the playoffs. So you can see all of these different things happening just within the NFC North. I think that there's a chance that all 3 teams could get in. Yes. But realistically, I think the 2 teams will get in, and either the Bears or the Packers are going to fall out, and I still see where the Lions can win. Let's look at the Lions. Can we beat Dallas? Yes, we can. Dallas, if we look at Fox defensive rankings right now, let's take a look at Dallas. How are they playing right now? They're winning some games that they probably shouldn't. The Cowboys are the 29th ranked overall defense. 29th. Passing, the Cowboys are 30th. Rushing, The Cowboys are 22nd. It's a bad defense. Scoring, they're 31st, allowing 28.5 points per game. We should absolutely murk the Cowboys at home. 1,000%. This should be a 40-10 game. It should be on paper. The red zone defense. The Cowboys are allowing 71.1% percentage in the red zone of all attempts. Third down. The Cowboys are last in the NFL. 48.4% completion. That should be our statistically, this should be our best third down offense of the season, should be against the Cowboys statistically. And if it's not, then we've got big problems. We should complete everything on third down against the Cowboys. Everything. But like I've said the last few weeks, Dan, forget third down. Offensively. Offensively, the Cowboys right now are number one. 393 yards per game. Passing offense, Cowboys are number one. 271 yards per game. Rushing, the Cowboys are 12th, 121.8 per game. Scoring offense, Cowboys are third, 29.3. Red zone, Cowboys 13th, 60.4%, and third down offense, Cowboys are fourth. This is where the problem is for the Cowboys game. This is now a 40-37 game. 40-37. The Cowboys are going to be a problem on offense. And the only way that you're going to disrupt their offense is if we get to them with our pass rush in this game. Dak is not running the football. He's not. He's not going to do it. He does not want to do it. He wants to pass the football. So the only way that you're going to be able to get after him, you shut the run game down, you double up CD Lamb, and then you get after him with a pass rush. You're going to have to do some overload defense. Quit. I get sick and tired of the Lions running this defense where we're just trying to get to them from both ends. No. Put Davenport and Aiden on the same side. And a Lee McNeil next to him. Or a Lee McNeil on the outside, DJ Reader on the middle. Overload. Back that up with a DB. On the other side, you're going to have to do something. So whatever side that they're light on, whatever side their tight end is not on, that's where I'm probably going to overload. I know it sounds crazy, but that's probably what I'm going to do if I'm a defensive coordinator. I'm going to overload their offense at least 4 or 5 times in this game to produce a sack or a turnover. That's how you defend them. All right, I'll move off of that. Lions can beat the Cowboys. It's going to be a tough game. Week 15. Can the Lions beat the Rams? Oof, I don't know. Not the way we're playing right now. So I'm going to have the Lions losing to the Rams. That means Green Bay is at number 1 because they have the head-to-head. Lions are still in the playoffs at number 6, but we're number 2 in the North. Week 16. Can the Lions beat Pittsburgh? Yes, we can. They have a good defense, but they're not playing like it. And their offense, not really excited. Week 17, we better beat the Minnesota Vikings this time. Have to. Absolutely have to. Week 18, I already have us beating Chicago. So 17, we beat Minnesota. 18, we beat Chicago. Week 16, we beat Pittsburgh. Week 15, we lose to the Rams. Week 14, we have to beat the Cowboys. That is the only way we're going to make it into the playoffs at a minimum, we can lose one game. That's it. One game. On the back side of that, the only other way that this works out for the Lions in the NFC North is if Cleveland somehow pulls a stunner with that defense. And San Francisco takes care of the Bears. That'll keep the Bears out at 9-8. Minnesota's not going to beat Green Bay. I mean, they could with that defense, but I don't think so. We'll leave Baltimore where they are over Green Bay. And we're going to have to give the Bears a win versus Green Bay in week. The thing I like about this matchup with the Bears and the Packers is that Ben Johnson knows the Packers intimately. And that's how it happens, folks. That's it. That's the game plan. That's how the Lions win the North at 11-6. The Green Bay drops to 10-6-1. The Bears are at 10-7. The Bears are out of the playoffs, and the Green Bay Packers are number 7, and the Rams end up as the number 1 seed. That is my call for the rest of the season, right there, and I'm sticking to it. I'm making my call. That's how it happens. It's how it's going to have to happen. I don't see it happen in any other way. I really don't. Agree or disagree? Those final phone calls, if you're still on and you'd like to call in, I'll give you 90 seconds each. And then I got to get off and go do some Black Friday shopping or shopping online or doing something. I got to do something, man. I got to do something. So those final few phone calls, feel free to call in if you're still on. I apologize. You can call in tomorrow. I plan on jumping in tomorrow. I'm going to try to get some videos out today. It probably won't happen. I owe you guys a lot of videos. You've been super patient with me, battling through all the health crap. And I'm feeling a little bit better today. The treatment helped. I just need a string, just like the Lions. I need to string a couple of wins in a row here. I really do. Lions on the outside looking in, man. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. You're really not. We are on the outside looking in right now, but it's what football is all about. And I'm going to go back to what I started with. Right? You remember me talking about the Chiefs, right? What did I say the Chiefs were when they won the Super Bowl? All right, we'll take this call real quick. Oh, yeah, you got to turn your background noise off, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, you just got to turn the TV off or whatever you got running because it's coming through.
Okay. Is it off now?
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
I got you. Good morning. This is Will. Who am I talking with?
Yeah, right. This is Mag Squad. This is Mag 7 Life.
Got you, man. Good morning.
Yep. Grand rising to you. Question for you, man. I almost want to say that the offense kind of looks better with J-Mo and Tesla at primary. Do you think so?
Primary outside receivers?
Yeah.
Or primary without Amon-Ra?
I mean, I would put block. Like, I'm going to be honest, because Tesla, I mean, it was kind of a dangerous offense, man. It was like they couldn't stop us. But every time Saint comes in, it's predictable.
Yeah. No, you definitely.
I mean,
I get you there. I get you.
I know everybody loves St. Brown. I know. But, I mean, J-Mo is a superstar, man. I'm sorry, but he is.
J-Mo can be.
It is what it is.
J-Mo can be a superstar. He just needs to string it together. And earlier, one of the callers, Buchanan, was mentioning that it was one of the hardest passes ever for for JMO to catch. When it hits your hands, that's what these guys are trained to do, and they catch a lot faster balls before. Goff doesn't throw the hardest football, in the league. He's kind of like fourth or fifth when it comes to miles per hour. But besides that point, to your point, when St. Brown is in, it's almost like, well, St. Brown's the key, right? He's the key on every play. He's like the first read on every play. And yes, it gets too predictable. What I'm not seeing, though, is I'm not seeing some of the plays that we used to run with Saint. We used to have him, over the middle, the deep ends, the deep cross, and we're not using it. And those are the plays that he would get open, and those are the plays that we're working. And I just don't think that Jared Goff has had enough time to get it there.
True, yeah, that's a good point.
And I do believe that, yeah, when Saints in, it's been a little bit more predictable. And I think that this game and these next couple of games, or at least one more game, is going to help Dan Campbell get away from St. Brown and open up the offense a little bit. I said this morning.
I think he has to.
Yeah, this is a blessing and a curse to have St. Brown out. It's a blessing because I think it opens up Dan Campbell's eyes.
Yep, good point.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
No, man, I just think Jared Goff, though, so that drop pass from J-Mo, it's 50-50 on J-Mo and Goff, man. Because Goff got to put that thing in stride, man, like he got to.
Yeah.
But J-Mo got to catch it, too, though.
So where do you think the Lions end up this year? Where can we go?
Man, I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I don't like this offensive line and like this D-line. I think it's over, man, because we can't really do nothing. The defense is tired as hell out there. Excuse my language, but they're just tired out there, man. Like they can't keep up. It's because they is out there too long. They are out there too long. And like I said, I'm not blaming Goff, but I'm blaming the whole Ben Johnson thing. It was just a whole. I don't know. I don't know what happened, man. It just hurts, man. That's all I know, man. It just hurts.
We're definitely we're up against it, but I hear you.
Yeah.
So you don't think
I'm not gonna say that it's over yet. No, I'm not gonna do that. No.
So you don't think that Frank Ragnow coming back, that's not going to help us out?
I think we should actually save him for next year, man.
You think he's going to play next year?
If he sits out this year and just comes back fresh, I think so, because even if he comes back, I don't think it's enough. I just don't, because this offensive line is too. It's not good. It's not good. These got Decker, man. He's hurt.
Yeah.
Glasgow's hurt. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm glad he's back though.
Yeah.
I know that. I'm glad he's back because he's a beast. I'm glad he's back. But
all right.
I don't know, man. I think that we squeak in though.
All right, I'll give you a couple of thoughts off there, man. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate you, man.
All right, take care. Okay, here's my thoughts on Frank. Again, in the stands, Jim, one of the groups, one of the group guys, not our group, but it sits in the group there in 105. Longtime Lions loyal member, many years, decades. He said Frank comes back, he plays 2 years. Frank comes back, he plays this year and next year. And I was like, what? You think that Frank's going to play next year too? I said, I don't know about that. I think this is kind of the plan. You got healthy, you stayed healthy, and now you can come in and you can give everything you got for half a season and a few playoff games at a Super Bowl. Right off to the sunset. Look, we can go 11-6 and we can still win a Super Bowl. The Chiefs did it. Why can't we? We got a better defense than they did. Our offense is going to get healthy at the right time. Our defense is still going to get healthy at the right time. It's just putting it all together. To that last caller's point, is it enough? Here would be one thing that I would say is going to be huge with Frank. Taylor Decker's hurt, to his point. Right now, who are we trying to help out the most on this offensive line? Center and right guard. Mahogany goes down. Now you've got Awasika, who's a problem. There's a potential that Miles Frazier could get ready and step in, and he could be a breath of fresh air, and he could play a lot better. Hoping that happens. Graham Glasgow can get healthy, go back to left guard where he can play a lot better. But with Frank coming back, let's assume Frank plays Frank, just like Frank did when he left. You no longer have to worry about the center of your defense on the other side. Excuse me. Center of the defense on the other side getting after the center of our offense. That's where they've been getting the greatest push. I've said this for 3 seasons now. The best way to attack a quarterback is between the A and the B gap, and that is what they are doing to us. They're pushing us on our ass into Goff's lap, and he has no time. But with Frank there, Goff gains that extra quarter to a half a second. He still has his front lane open, right? His throwing lane. He can still step into it. That is key number 1 to fixing this offense, is giving Goff that throwing lane. And then it opens up the inside duo, which has been absent from this offense. The inside duo plays are critical to this team. That's going to come back. Tate Ratledge is now going to work next to Frank and Penei Sewell. Where Penei Sewell right now can't focus a lot on Tate, Frank Ragnow is going to be able to help this young guy get up to speed. But being between those two pillars, Tate Ratledge's game is gonna elevate just by being between those two guys. Number 1 reason is this: defenses are no longer going to attack that side. Because you have Frank and you have Penei, they're no longer going to be able to treat that like they are right now, which is a huge liability for this offense. Now you're in between the tackle type stuff is going to open behind Penei Sewell, who is a road grader as an offensive tackle. Tate Ratledge in the run game is actually a road grader. Frank Ragnow is one of the best centers to get to the second level. He's a road grader. I'm going to see a lot of runs going on behind the right side of this offensive line. It's all going to start to come back. You run the football, you win the clock, you win the game. So immediately, we're no longer having to take that tight end and we're going to have to slam it behind Tate Ratledge to help out with protection. I think some of that stuff's going to go away. Now the running back can pick up the protection naturally, and he'll have an easier time at doing it, whether it's Gibbs or Montgomery. The left side's still a problem. Taylor Decker has lost a step and lost his strength in that shoulder. But that's where now you park the tight end over there, and now you give Taylor Decker help with the tight end. That 6th man no longer has to come behind and handle, the pressure between Glasgow and Ratledge, or Glasgow and Iwasaka. Now you just go and park that tight end. Maybe you put somebody in motion, they fill the block to now where you get 7-man protection. That's where I think it all changes. That's where it all changes. Like I said a minute ago, where it also changes is with Amon-Ra St. Brown out. This is going to have to open up Dan Campbell's eyes. Now, to the previous caller, you mentioned Isaac Tesla and Jameson being primary. Better for this offense? I don't know about that. I wouldn't think so. But what I do think is Goff was having to distribute the ball a little bit differently for 3 quarters in this game. He's going to have to distribute the ball a lot differently in the next game. It's going to get more players involved. Those players are going to be able to build confidence. Goff is going to be able to build confidence in those players. Khalif Raymond should be back whenever he gets back. It's going to change the way that Dan Campbell calls plays. He's going to have to open up the other side of his playbook. Tesla's going to have to be part of the plan. And then when Tesla's able to come through, then you can't leave him out of the game plan. The biggest thing that I'm missing right now out of this offense, one of the number one things that I'm missing is distribution. Going back and looking at the box score, and this is going to be one of the final points here, and I got to get going. Going back and look at the box score yesterday, okay, so you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys that were targeted. Okay, forget about Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had 1 target, and he was gone. Ross Dwelly, you wouldn't normally target him ever. He had 3. Anthony Fursker, he had 1. But normally what we used to see would be like, 3 to 6 catches for everybody. Amon-Ra would be at top, and then 3 to 6 for everybody. Sam Laporta would be number 2. J-Mo would be number 3. Jameer would be like number 6 or 7. What I need to see is J-Mo, Tesla on the outside. Spread it, like Ross said. We need more spread. This tight, condensed offense is not working. We need more spread. Let me take that back. There's some keys to the game that I've put out where I talk specifically about having the condensed formations, and that's specific to that defense. The condensed formations against the Packers was because of their pass rush. But they weren't just doing it from the inside. They were doing it from the outside. Or they weren't just doing it from the outside. They were doing it from the inside. And that's because you're not putting enough protection behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. So we need more spread to spread that offense and spread the defense horizontally. And then you can run all of your angle routes and you should be able to win more. But if you have Tesla and J-Mo out wide and you have St. Brown on the inside who helps out in the run game, big time, just like Dan said, and then you have Jahmyr Gibbs that you can also put in the other slot, condensed, and David Montgomery behind the line of scrimmage, what more do you need right now if you don't have a tight end? Forget the tight ends. There's no reason in the world why you can't be in a 2x2 formation, but instead of being in a true 2x2, it's in and out. And you're just going to send those 4, and David Montgomery sits back to pick up the protection. Jared Goff is in shotgun. He takes that ball 2-step, 3-step out. Someone's open. You run the short ins, the short outs, J-Mo over the middle, or Jameer over the middle, St. Brown over the middle. Start running some crossing routes. There's no reason why you can't get Jahmyr Gibbs on a crosser on a linebacker 3-4 yards deep off the line of scrimmage and take that thing another 10-12 yards. Especially when you're running J-Mo across the other way, pulling the safeties over the middle. Those are the plays that I'm missing. We're not seeing it. We're just not seeing it. So those things are going to have to open up, and I hope to God we get to it because we need it. We can still deliver the ball without all the time in the world, but I do believe that Frank Ragnow is going to give Jared Goff a little bit more time. And that's all he needs right now is a little bit more time. I know a lot of people are blaming Goff yesterday, saying, just throw it away, just get rid of the ball. Look, he's got nothing in front of him, and within a flash, you have a defensive end or a defensive tackle on him. And he can't see it. You got to remember that. Goff can't see everything. When he's looking to the right and he's looking and he's got to use his side eye to look what's going on in the middle of the defense, he can't necessarily see a shaded linebacker. Got these big 350-pound or 330-pound, 6'7" linemen in front of you. You can't see everything. And they're stacked. So your vision is limited, and it's peripheral vision. You're not going to see it. If you're trying to hit your progressions, he's not going to see it every time. I know it looks different on film. You think, or you're during the game or on TV, and you're like, man, why didn't he just get rid of the ball? Man, why didn't he just throw the ball? There's no time. And you know what? If he does throw the ball, where do you think that ball is going to go? It's going to go into their hands. And then you got a pick 6 on your hands. I don't think you want that either. Because what you would have said after he threw the ball for an interception is, why the hell did you throw the ball? That's what you're going to say. what I see yesterday out of Jordan Love was, they have like 10 guys that were targeted in this game. Wicks, Watson, Musgrave, Dobbs, Brooks, Jacobs, Melton, Weil, Fitzpatrick, and Heath. 10. All had one or more targets in this game. We need to do a better job at distribution, and Jahmyr Gibbs needs to be out in the slot more. I'm sorry, you don't deliver the ball, 4 times to Jahmyr Gibbs for 18 yards, and I think all of them, except for one, were under 4 yards, and he had one for like 7. But he has the ability to break it, and I'm not understanding why we're not sending him on deeper routes. Because the minute you send out Gibbs and his speed, that's the thing. If you need to get rid of the ball quick, why are we not putting Gibbs and J-Mo next to each other? You can't defend that. You can't defend that kind of speed. And if you need to get the ball out quick, and J-Mo's quick, and Jahmyr's quick, they can get beyond the defense. Sit back and throw that thing up and go get it. Jahmyr will outpace everybody. We need something different is what we need. Anyway, I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. I'm sorry that the Lions spoiled it for you. But there's nothing better than family, right? There's nothing better than being able to come together and enjoy, a meal with your family and hanging out, watching some football. Yesterday, I was working on an article I didn't get time to finish because we had to get to the game. But it started off by saying I was grateful, right? I was grateful, for the roar of the crowd. I'm grateful because of the heart-stopping comebacks and the way that the Detroit Lions football unites us every Thanksgiving. It's a tradition. Football and family. We give thanks for every team, or for the team, the city, the unforgettable moments that make being a Lions fan something truly special. This holiday isn't just about turkey and tradition, though. It's about the grit. It's about the joy, the shared pride that fills our tables and living rooms when the Lions take the field. From all the late game drives that keep us on the edge of our seats to the breakout plays that ignite the city. These players remind us that Sundays are more than just football. They're family. And today we celebrate together. Yesterday, we celebrate together. We honor the milestones, the records, the relentless spirit that makes Detroit football the heartbeat of Thanksgiving for so many that love this team. For Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday, one of the reasons why I was thankful was because of Gibbs. I was kind of doing what I'm thankful for, talking about each player, and I'll finish it and put it out even though it's late. But I started off by saying he just keeps on going. And I used the quote from Forrest Gump where he said, I had run for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days, and 16 hours. It's like Jahmyr Gibbs, man. He just keeps on going. He's delivered one of the most remarkable performances of his young career in the 34-27 thrilling overtime win against the Giants the week before, posting career high 11 receptions and a career best 264 scrimmage yards. 219 on the ground, 45 through the air. 3 touchdowns. Capped that by the go-ahead 69-yard run for a touchdown. His day was so special that Jahmyr Gibbs won his 3rd career NFC Offensive Player of the Week award. He now has 3. And in 4th place among all the Detroit Lions greats for such award. He also joined LaDainian Tomlinson as the only running backs in NFL history with at least 10 receptions, 250 scrimmage yards, and 3 touchdowns in a single game, as well as 10 receptions and 200 rushing yards in the same contest. Gibbs has totaled 1,313 scrimmage yards, or 30 scrimmage yards, and 13 touchdowns this season prior to Thanksgiving, making him just the 5th back since 1990 to record 1,200-plus scrimmage yards and 10-plus touchdowns in each of his first 3 seasons. The names that he is in with, Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Ricky Waters. With 10 rushing scores in 25, Gibbs became the 7th player ever to notch double-digit rushing touchdowns in each of his first 3 years. That first since Peterson did it in 2007 through 2009. Still, only at 23 years old, Gibbs has 44 career scrimmage touchdowns, surpassing Randy Moss for the second most by a player under 24, trailing only the GOAT himself, Barry Sanders, who has 47. Now, according to Next Gen Stats, his 69-yard overtime run reached a top speed of 22.17 miles per hour. He now holds the second, the third, and the fourth fastest times run this season. Now, Jahmyr Gibbs was held out of the end zone yesterday, so he wasn't able to add on to catch Barry Sanders, but he will. And then I asked if you wanted more. You want a little bit more apple pie to finish off your day. Jahmyr Gibbs is the only player in history to record those 10-plus rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown in each of his first 3 seasons. The only players in history to average over 9.5 scrimmage yards per touch in any 3-game span with at least 60 total touches. Well, that's Jahmyr Gibbs and Jim Brown all alone. And among all NFL running backs this season, Jahmyr Gibbs ranks, this is again before yesterday's game, first in rushing, first in scrimmage yards, second in scrimmage TDs, third in rushing yards, third in rushing TDs, fourth in scrimmage yards, and fourth in receptions. Pretty impressive that the only players in history to produce 3 games with 170-plus scrimmage yards and 3 TDs through 3 career seasons, well, that's just a few names. Jahmyr Gibbs, Adrian Peterson, Fred Taylor, Eric Dickerson, Kloisbox, and Jim Brown. And Jahmyr Gibbs is the only player to do it since 2007 and 09, which was Adrian Peterson. Before that, you have to go back at least 20 years. Before that, 30. Before that, 50, 60, 70 years to see anybody else do what he's doing in the league right now. Jahmyr Gibbs is the 6th player in history to log 950 rush yards, 10 rush TDs, 375 receiving yards, and 3 receiving TDs through his first 11 games of a season. In that, he joins 5 other names. Christian McCaffrey in 2019, Todd Gurley in 2018, Tomlinson in 2006, Priest Holmes in 2002, and Edgerrin James in 2000. Pretty special dude to be thankful for on Thanksgiving. And Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the guys that I'm thankful for as a Lions fan. Now, I wasn't able to finish all of this, but Dan Campbell's record as a coach is now 46-33-1 since taking over in 2021. He has a 2-2 postseason mark through the 25 campaign so far. We're hoping to expand upon that this season. It's been a clear turnaround for a franchise that has been mirrored in agony and defeat and frailty and everything else that you can think of. Haven't been a good football team, haven't been a good football franchise, but it's always been a city that showed up on Thanksgiving to celebrate and be thankful for their team. Win, lose, or draw, they still show up. We will always show up. It was tough to watch them lose yesterday. Again, to the Packers, right? But the season's not over. It's not over. The Lions can still do a lot with the season. They can still make the playoffs. They can still win the North, which means they can still win a Super Bowl. Anything can happen. Anything. It's still within reach. And to think for a moment, right now, as Lions fans, we're upset because we're 7-5. We're upset because we're a game and a half out of the North. How are we upset when we would have been begging for this 5 seasons ago, 6 seasons ago, 7, 8, 9 seasons ago, and just about every season before that, minus a few? We're spoiled right now. We've been spoiled. We have to come back to reality a little bit. Some seasons are going to be tough. Some games are going to be tough. We can't beat everybody by double digits. We can't think that if we don't win by double digits, it's not a good win. This is the NFL. Some games we're going to win by 1 or 2 or 3. Some games you might tie. Some games might be a boat race and take you to the edge of your seat. In some games, you might throw up a 50 burger on the Bears. It feels great, right? It feels great, but in all, the Lions have fought and done everything that they could do, minus making a few mistakes, not having all their players, and having to beat the refs on too many occasions. They still fight. They still show up. And so should you. If you're truly a fan, and yes, I am a true fan. Yes, I will be real, raw, authentic, and try to give you the truth, honesty, and transparency about your team and every player within. I don't care what the name is on the back of their jersey. If they screw up, I'm going to let you know how I feel. It's just my opinion. If they play great, I'm going to let you know. It's just my opinion. Whether the stats match up or they don't, there's a story to be told within every game. There's a story to be told with every stat line. And there's a story to be told with every game film if you actually watch it. Some of us have a little bit more time than others, but I can promise you, as you subscribe to the channel today, if you're a first-time listener, that you're only going to get that from me. The morning show, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m., usually has Eric Wintemaki on, the co-host. He's obviously still in Detroit. I believe he's still in Detroit. He got a very unique experience. One of his friends was able to sign up for the on-field opportunity during halftime, which the Lions opened that up to everybody to be able to sign up for a week and a half ago or something like that. Filled up in seconds. And so he was able to get on and experience the halftime. I did it years ago, but that was a great experience to have Eminem come out yesterday and completely shake down that stage. What an amazing opportunity to see Eminem yesterday. So got a little mini concert during the game. Didn't help us win the game, but it's good to see Eminem finally show up on the stage. We've been asking for it for a long time. So I couldn't imagine. Eric probably had a wonderful time yesterday doing that. Great experience. Been on the field many times. It's always a great experience when you walk out on that turf and you look around and you look at your seats and you look at how far away you are really from the action. It doesn't seem like you're that far. You look all the way up into the skybox where press row is, where we've been up there a few times too and done some game work that it's awe-inspiring to be able to look back at all of the things that we're able to do. And that's why I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful that we get the opportunities to do the things that we do. But there's one thing that I'm not going to do. And it's not that I'm not going to lose hope that this team will have a chance to put themselves in a position to win. They still have all the same players, man. It's just they have to figure out a way to win. They have to figure out a way to go one step further. And I think that they will. I think they'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm going to get going for the day. One final thought. I hate to finish on a negative, but I forgot about this. I wanted to share this one final thought today with you guys. It was supposed to be said earlier. Let me know, obviously, in the comments what you guys think, today's show, things you've taken out of it. Would love to hear your opinions each and every day. I try to get to and read all the comments. So please drop them in after the live stream. The comments don't count in the live stream, so make sure you drop some comments into the actual comment section. But the fourth down calls, the fourth down offense that we have become. I've been wanting to say this now for a couple of weeks. I think that being a fourth down team has kind of hurt this team. at least where we are right now. Because when you're thinking about, are we in position to go to fourth down or not, and that interrupts the play calling. Whereas on third down and 6, you might be going for 8 yards or more, at least 6. Now you might only be looking to get 3 or 4. So you're not going to the sticks. And then you're going to go for it on fourth down. It might be 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, which is highly manageable. Not as manageable as a 4th and 1. I think that that's a big part of this offensive identity. And I also feel like it's a big part of why the offense is failing at times. We can't just be a fourth down team. You have to play the game the way it was supposed to be played and then use fourth down as a weapon, not as an identity. And I think that we have fallen into a trap that being a fourth down team is now dictated to play calling, and the play calling is suffering. And I think that's where we have a problem with Dan Campbell's play calling or Johnny Morton's play calling, is that they're relying on the fourth down. I'm good with some of the fourth down calls, just not below the 50-yard line. I like to see us closer to the 45 because honestly, if you're punting the ball or you're kicking the ball off, they could get it at the 40 or the 35. And I think in terms of that, so I would always go for it on the 40. Time, down and distance, score, all predicate what I would do. But I'm not a head coach. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I'm not a defensive coordinator. I have no experience in the NFL from that perspective. I just see what I see as a fan and as someone that is learning the nuances of the game through scouting school. It's opened my eyes to a lot. Watch a lot of film. I listen to a lot of people that are way more intelligent than I ever will be when it comes to the game. And there's a lot of things that make sense. The one thing that's not making sense right now is being a fourth down team. We have the weapons to go further and deeper more often, and we're not doing it. And I think that's because of the fourth down team that we are. It's too much dink and dunk. Way too much dink and dunk. We are not a West Coast offense. But Johnny Morton's philosophy, I think that what he brought into this offense is more West Coast diverse, and that's more dink and dunk. We need to go back to being more of a spread offense, and we need to get downfield. I don't know why. I mean, would you put a Ferrari in the garage all the time? You can't win a race with a Ferrari in the garage. Right? Saying you went for a drive in your Ferrari and you drove it down to the mailbox and back doesn't really count, does it? You got to get that thing out of the highway, man. You got to let it go, pedal to the floor. That's the style of offense that we should be, and those are the style of players that we have. You've got guys that are running sub 4.3 speed, and they're in the garage. Well, they're going down to the mailbox and back. Can't happen anymore. These guys need to get downfield. Got to get downfield. All right, y'all. Be safe out there today. Don't beat anybody up over a TV. And, man, go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. I'll see you guys in the next one, which will be probably tomorrow. And enjoy the rest of your Friday. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Appreciate all you guys spending a little bit of time with me today. And take care, man. We'll see you guys. Take care. Adios.
Pressured by Hutchinson.